and sets up the extra attacker, and then a pass by Kostopoulos, the 36-year-old captain, was deflected and hit off a Phantom for a touch-up and for possession. And the Phantoms took too many darn penalties in their game on Wednesday, and it almost cost them. And that's what Scott Gordon told the team in the locker room between the second and the third periods. And Anthony Stolarz and others said, yeah, Gordo came in there and pretty much challenged us to stay out of the box because we're doing all right 5-on-5. Taylor Lear did not think that he got him and was talking to the referee about it a little bit. But Taylor Lear, I thought he was in the vicinity when the player Connor Sheary went down. Maybe that was a little Hollywood acting there for Sheary. I don't know. But Taylor Lear really doesn't talk to the ref that much unless he feels there's a reason to do so. He gets called for the high sticking infraction. First generation penalty kill for the Phantoms. And Wilkes-Barre Scranton absolutely atrocious on the power play of late. In their last 5 games, 0 for their last 23. So here's a possible big start for the Phantoms penalty kill, which has been very, very good. Gave up 1 power play goal Wednesday to end a streak of 18 straight. Now Dominic Simon, who passes it across, and a shot from the left point is wide. Dominic Simon, number 49, is a rookie from the Czech Republic who's one of the top rookie scorers in the league. Phantoms got a quick clear, but here come the Penguins back into the zone again. And a power play in their opening minute. Tim Erickson thought he had stopped it on the blue line. And the linesman behind him said, no, but Jaws did tick across by an inch. And in fact, I think that Tim Erickson, the former Calgary Flames first-round selection, who had previously we had seen him with Springfield, I think he was correct. I thought he held it in barely on the edge of the line, but the linesman gives the Phantoms a little bit of a break there. And with 1:31 to go on the first generation penalty kill, the faceoff comes out to center. Kevin Gumas is on the draw, and he is out there winning the faceoff back to Mark Alt, who is with Samuel Moran. Joe Raycamp getting time on the penalty kill, and Scott Gordon continues to compliment the play of Joe Raycamp without saying a word, but he keeps on putting him out there and giving him some big-time minutes. Now Scott Wilson stripped of the puck as it was knocked off his stick by Raycamp and pushed away. Looks like Jay Rosehill might be the final scratch, the healthy scratch for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms today. We didn't get the final stats on that. We thought it might be Joe Raycamp during the pregame warm-ups, but it might be Rosie now. Now we see the lineup on the bench. Here come the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins rushing up ice and into the zone. And up the left wing and carrying it in is Connor Sheary down to the corner. Robert Haig got there, and his backhander trying to clear it out was blocked down on the point by Derek Pouliot. And now Haig got his stick wrapped around Connor Sheary, who took a tumble that almost could have been a hooking call. Down low, Scott Wilson wanted to turn on the side of the net, and it was spun off his stick, kept in by Pouliot. In the meantime, another Penguins player had a broken stick. Here's a shot off of Kostopoulos. Another one is inadvertently blocked by Kostopoulos. That one by Scott Wilson, who has 11 goals this year. Kostopoulos trying to screen the goalie Stolarz. Inadvertently got in the way of shots of 2 of his own teammates. 12 seconds to go on the penalty to Taylor Lear. Wilkes-Barre Scranton D crosses in right past the Phantoms. D turned the corner there on Max LaMarche, but Stolarz sealed the short post there on the angle. Now Tim Erickson shooting, deflected, score, and it looks like it's Dominic Simon who scored. Yeah, that was a shot pass into the slot, and Dominic Simon is able to deflect it in for his 10th of the season. A talented rookie from the Czech Republic who played for the Czech club team of Peter Straka's hometown of Pizin, Czech Republic. And this is a guy who was picked up in the 5th round of the draft just this past year, and maybe was quite a good pickup as it turned out by the Penguins. And he scores on the power play to give Wilkes-Barre Scranton a 1-0 lead at 2:49 into the first period. So Simon, the deflection there. Really nice shot pass by Tim Erickson. Peter Straka into the zone. His pass across, intended for Palusha, was deflected away, broken up. And now back the other way come the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. Batted around at center, scooped back up by Lehigh Valley. And in they come, and wrapped around the wall. Straka, Cousins, now Davis Drewiski, all the way up to the corner from the left D for the veteran defenseman, 31 years old.
Simone, his 10th of the season, assisted by number 4, Tim Erickson, and number 11, Kevin Porter at 2:49.
Now the Phantoms an intercept and rushing up ice, and a shot is off the blocker there of Matt Murray and deflected away. Moran goes D to D through the neutral zone to Mark All, guns it around the wall. Palushek got all the way over to the left boards. Phantoms are mid-line change. He tried to connect with Tyrell Goulburn, broken up. Now Nick Cousins, who got into his second pro fight and first of the season on Wednesday, giving a nice pounding to 5'8" tall Nathan Walker, and then later he scored the overtime winning goal. Well, there he got a shove in on Brian Rust, it might have been. He got a piece of for Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Rust sent down from Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago, or about a week ago, in fact. Dumped down ice by the Penguins. That's an icing against Wilkes-Barre Scranton, so we'll bring the draw back to the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins side with 15:55 to go here in the first period, and a 1-0 lead for the Penguins on that deflection goal by Dominic Simon. That's his third of the year against the Phantoms, by the way. Among his 10 goals total for the 21-year-old center. 5'11" from the Czech Republic. 3 years in the Czech League, then drafted in the 5th round by the Penguins and lighting it up at one of the top rookie scorers in the AHL. Penguins won the draw, but the Phantoms blocked them from clearing, and Gumas was walking in on a give over there from Lashoff, and Gumas kind of cut off at the pass. Now Tyrell Goulburn is battling for it on the left wing wall. Robert Haig steps up, gets a shove on there. Connor Sheary, or maybe that's Simon rather, and Simon pushes it out, and the Phantoms will slam it right back in. Well, the Phantoms were staying on it there. Now Gumas steps up, steals it from the goalie Murray behind the net. Now Gumas walking in from the right wing, and he tried to stuff it in, but on the stick, it was Murray able to paddle it away. Trubisky got in a little trouble with the puck rolling away off of his stick blade. He was able to turn and recover past Connor Sheary, and here's Joe Raykamp for the Phantoms in the left corner, dropping Trubisky a shot. That one deflected off the Cale Morat with Cole Bardreau out there. And welcome back to the ice, Cole Bardreau, in just his 5th game of the season. Was out for 3 weeks with an injury, came back, played 1 game, and took a completely different injury November 8th. So he'd been out for another 5 weeks after that knee injury that he took here on November 8th. Phantoms at center. Here's Joe Raykamp, the rookie from St. Cloud State in Minnesota, across the line and broken up offside, and bring it back to the neutral zone. Now with 14:49 to go here in the first period, and a 1-0 lead for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. Melvin's Kids Club for kids 14 and under is only $20. You get a Kids Club members only party later in the year. A membership card, a Melvin poster, Melvin's Kids Club backpack, personalized photo mug, and a prize wheel spin at every Phantoms home game. Sign up at an upcoming Phantoms home game or call Andrew Hill at the Lehigh Valley Phantoms at 610-224-GOAL, 610-224-4625. 1-0 Penguins the score. Neutral zone draw is won by Tim Brent. And now the Penguins come up with it, and Mullerat will shove it in, and Taylor Lear will get a nice little shoulder in on Cale Mullerat, the former St. John's Ice Cap and Bridgeport Sound Tiger. Carrying out in front was Scott Wilson trying to center, the talented 23-year-old with 11 goals. First on the team ahead of Simon, who has 10. Poked into the corner, Brent after it, couldn't win it. Penguins clear. Scott Gordon loved how his team competed and battled along the boards. Now Mark Auld lost his edge on his skate there, crashes out of the corner, and that's a steal for Scott Wilson. The Penguins behind the Phantoms goal. He was trying to center for Kostopoulos. It was between his skates for the former New Jersey Devil, among other teams. And back out of the red line, Tom Kostopoulos of some 1,200 pro games, about half of those in the NHL, in pursuit, and then trying to drop it off. Broken up, stolen by the Phantoms, stolen back by the Penguins, and it's Dominic Huer who looked to connect with Oscar Sundqvist down low. And their captain, Tom Kostopoulos, played for their inaugural season in Wilkes-Barre in 1999, 16 years ago. Now he's back in the twilight of his career. And a shot from the left dot spinning around, and it's on to Anthony Stolars as he denies Oscar Sundqvist, and play blown down. And we'll step aside and take a break. That was actually Dominic Huer who had that shot from the left dot on Stoli, the goalie. 13:39 to go, first period. The Penguins lead it here early in Allentown. Wilkes-Barre Scranton 1, Lehigh Valley nothing on Fox 1470. This is Phantoms Hockey.
Lifelong. Life is a series of stages, and National Pen wants to be your financial partner every step of the way. We're there for you when you make life-changing decisions like buying a new house, planning for retirement, even adding a new family member. Lifelong. It's our commitment to you and your family, because that's the nature of our relationships. Whatever the future holds, you can count on National Pen to be there by your side. Banking, insurance, investments, trust. NationalPen.com. Member FDIC.
Around my house, I'm called difficult. I know what I want, and I always want more. Take my insurance, for instance. I want more coverages, but there's no chance I'm paying more for it. My agent knows this, and that's why she recommended the Selective Edge. With the Selective Edge, I get higher coverage limits and even coverages I didn't know I need. And my agent knows what discounts I deserve. More coverage, more options, less money. That's not too difficult, is it? Find an agent near you by visiting Selective.com. Selective. Response is everything.
Hi, this is Danick Martel, number 18 with Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Catch the game all season long with Bob Rolltruck on Fox 1470.
Well, the goal that was scored by Dominic Simon is not a power play goal, as it turns out. It came after Taylor Lear had returned from the penalty box. It was as a result of their man advantage that they still carried while Taylor Lear was hustling back into position. But that deflection for Simon, not on the power play, so now the Penguins are 0 for 24 in their last 5 games because they didn't get a power play goal on that one. They'll take it, though, and it's 1-0 Penguins, who are out shooting the Phantoms in the early going, 5-3. Lehigh Valley rushes up ice into the zone. Tyrell Goulburn will smack it into the right wing corner, and he goes barging in there after it along with their defenseman, the youngster Nicholas Anderson. Phantoms pinched and kept it in, and now here's a drop from Martel for Robert Haig, and it was kind of a hot potato, and he'll just knock it off his right boot and back there into the corner. And now spinning, falling inside the left dot was Kevin Gumas, trying to get turned for a shot. Down there with Goulburn and Martel. Now a delayed penalty is coming up on the Penguins. They got a hack in on Gumas. Here comes Stolars to the bench. Phantoms will try to pull it back. Now Lashoff will step up to the left circle. Dangles his way in. Try to shovel it on. And it was blocked down off the stick of Anderson, who gets possession with that touch. Whistle blows. Phantoms to go on the PPL power play now. And it comes with 12:47 to go in the first period. It is a tripping minor on Jean-Sebastien D., the talented second-year center, who is another one of their undrafted pickups, 21 years old. Scored 10 goals for Wilkes-Barre, including an overtime winner right here at PPL Center in a game similar to this one. It was Wilkes-Barre's first visit to Allentown on the year. It was October 29th of last year that Jean-Sebastien D. had that power play overtime winning goal for the Penguins after the Phantoms went 0 for 10 in that game. Here's a shot right off the draw for Lehigh Valley. Oh, a big face-off win, and Nick Cousins gallops up 2 quick strides from the right point and lays into that slapper, but swallowed in by Matt Murray. Tim Brent in the left circle won that face-off clean all the way back to Cousins. Oh yeah, he tried to do that. Little backhand flick back to Cousins to set up a big slapper. And Nick Cousins, who has 2 goals in 2 games since his return from Philadelphia, including an overtime winner on Wednesday, almost made it 3 goals in 3 games. Phantoms, Brent wins the draw again. Now Taylor Lear in the corner to Colin McDonald behind the goal. Wraps it around the boards up high to Nick Cousins on the left point. Now he and Lashoff will crisscross on the points. Tim Brent on the left boards, drops for Lashoff. Center point shooting, deflected mid-route by Lear. And then off the stick of Matt Murray, off the end boards, rolled around, races on. Taylor Lear kept it in briefly. And then Wilkes-Barre clears, and then Tim Brent just stole it right back from Derek Pouliot, and now chipped up to Carter Rowney, who couldn't get his feet moving for any kind of a breakaway chance or anything like that. He'll just shovel it in high off the top of the glass and deep so that Wilkes-Barre can get a change on this penalty kill. With 1:12 to go on the PPL power play. 12 minutes left in the first. Penguins lead it here in Allentown by a 1-0 score. Rolled around the wall. Nick Cousins on the left wing half wall. Sends it right back where it came from. Tim Brent waiting for it, coming to him very slowly. Absorbs the check there from Reed McNeil, but sent it right back into the corner, and now digging and jamming galore with Taylor Lear in there. Sticks waiting, Colin McDonald, a physical, feisty, big guy, and he comes back with it on the left point, gives to Brent, trying to feed it in, down low to Lear, and Nicholas Anderson blocked that pass off. Lear would have had a great chance if the pass had made it through. Colin McDonald is a big-time difference maker when he's here for Lehigh Valley. Just his 6th game of the season for the Phantoms. Out with injury and up with Philadelphia as well for 5 games where he had 1 goal. Now Colin McDonald off the end wall. Former Princeton University standout trying to send it out in front. Poked away to the other side. Brent back up high, Lashoff. 20 seconds left, power play. Phantoms finally with a little space after it was tangled up on the boards. Cousins gives to Lashoff, and then he banks it in around the corner to Brent. Pass behind him with Brent kind of leaning in towards the net, and Lashoff got caught in between thoughts and faked out his own teammate. And Wilkes-Barre Scranton with a retrieval behind the goal. Reed McNeil rolls it around the wall away from Lashoff and all the way out. Phantoms playing that one man back on the point pretty much on the power play, that umbrella style, if you will. Here's D coming back out of the box, and we return to 5-on-5. Tyrell Goulburn accepts the pass from Lashoff, rushes up the right wing, shoots it off the pads of Matt Murray. And Tyrell Goulburn creating an opportunity there and has some very quick strides. Once he gets those feet moving, it doesn't take long for him to do so. Wilkes-Barre Penguins lift the puck high in the air all the way down ice. That is an icing on the Penguins. Will bring the draw back to the Wilkes-Barre Scranton side. Well, that power play looked kind of so-so for Lehigh Valley. It wasn't atrocious, but it certainly wasn't anything to write home about either. Phantoms on the power play have dipped to 20th in the league at 15.2%. But their last 11 games and now their last 12 games, including this one, are the cause for concern. That's since the Shane Gostisbehere call-up on November 14th. Quick shot off the face-off there. Matt Murray steered away the attempted drive of Kevin Gumas. The Phantoms without Shane Gostisbehere are at 7%, under 7% now. 3 for 44 in their last 12 games on the power play. So, you know, it's a lot of mixing and matching up of different lineups. And now you're without Andrew McDonald, too, who was really kind of carrying it on the center point in the absence of Gostisbehere. But you still have Cousins, and you have Brent, and you have Taylor Lear, so it should be doing better than what it has been. Phantoms dig it away in their own end, and Danique Martel got hip-checked off the side there. A Wilkes-Barre player, Pouliot, lost his glove. Referee saw it. Fans wanted a call. Martel was kind of selling it some a little bit there after he felt the contact. Acted like he really got hit a lot harder than he really was, I think. He's not that big a guy, though, so it doesn't take much to send him off balance. Wilkes-Barre Scranton up ice and across the line on the left wing. It chipped over the reach of Evan Rankin. And Rankin across to Joe Raykamp. The fourth liner's out there for Lehigh Valley with Cole Bardreau in his first game back. And now a little stretch pass and tipped in by Cale Mulrat from behind the Phantoms goal. It is Anthony Stolar, sends it to the corner, turned over. Moran had nowhere to go with it. Mulrat found Sheary in the slide, and his shot partly deflected. Goes well wide of the right skate of Anthony Stolar's. The steal looked really good for the Penguins to start, and then turned into a whole lot of nothing when the Phantoms were able to recover. Here's Wilkes-Barre Scranton sailing it all the way down. That's an icing call with 8:54 to go in the first period. And a 1-0 lead for the Penguins on a goal by Dominic Simon at 2:49 into the first period. On the power play, the shot pass by Tim Erickson. It was also assisted by Kevin Porter. It was a nice chip. I think that Stolar's got a little piece of that one. But on the redirection of the shot pass into the slot, he just wasn't able to come up with it. And now a quick slap shot off the draw, man. The Phantoms doing a lot of damage, or possible damage, off the face-off wins. That was Robert Haig's drive off a Nick Cousins face-off win. As it goes off the end boards, caroms all the way back to Lehigh Valley territory, and Palushai just got leveled on a high hit by Cale Mulrat. Well, Palush had the puck, so the officials say that that's okay, even though I think he made contact with the head there. Palushai going after a different guy, Reed McNeil. The Penguins, the black and gold, led by their head coach Mike Sullivan, dump it in deep. There's more hitting. Kevin Porter got a piece of Nick Cousins back behind the Lehigh Valley goal. Cousins gets rid of the puck now. Robert Haig is wide open, ready to set up the breakout against the Penguins coverage, and one hand on the stick, chipping it forward through the center circle was Straka, who scored his league-leading 15th goal of the season on Wednesday. Tied with a rookie from the Texas Stars named Devin Shore out of the University of Maine. Former teammates with Martin Ouellette with the Maine Black Bears is Devin Shore of Texas. And Peter Straka's 15th of the year with 8:38 to go in the third started. That big comeback for the Phantoms in the 3-2 overtime win on Wednesday. Wilkes-Barre Scranton fires it around the wall. Stolar's back behind the goal, got enough of it to slow it down anyway. Leave it there for Max LaMarche and Matt Lashoff, rather, and now the Phantoms back in the other way. And a shot from the right wing from the captain, Colin McDonald, off the stick of Matt Murray. Now the Penguins lift one high in the air, and David Struwitsky in a foot race scoops it up ahead of Brian Rust, who was sent back from Pittsburgh almost exactly 1 week ago. And through center, Brent chipped it over to Taylor Lear, who got leveled by the former Hershey captain, Steve Alexi. Alexi will go to the box. And the Phantoms on the PPL power play when we return. With 7:20 to go in the first period, the Penguins won, the Lehigh Valley Phantoms nothing. Interference on Steve Alexi. Went over to the dark side. He had been very popular with Hershey for 3 years, and over this past offseason, signing with the Penguins, where he's an alternate captain. 1-0 Wilkes-Barre Phantoms power play on the way on Fox 1470. This is Lehigh Valley Phantoms hockey.
I want to explain why I'm happy. First of all, my divorce is final. Everybody assumes that because you went through a divorce, you're enemies. It's not true. She's happy. She's moved on. I'm happy. I moved on. I'm happier than she is, though. I knew I was happy because I was talking to myself while I was walking. I was like, you hungry? I could eat. It was just me, though.
Kevin Hart, What Now Tour, December 29th, the PPL Center. Get tickets now at pplcenter.com, the arena box office, or by phone.
Rise up, hockey fans, for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Friday night against the Wilkes-Barre Penguins, our t-shirt giveaway, ugly holiday sweater style. Saturday night post-game open skate with the Phantoms players, plus our annual teddy bear toss. Throw your teddy bear donation onto the ice after the Phantoms' first goal. Tickets at pplcenter.com or call 610-347-TIX, 610-347-8499. T-shirts and teddy bears. Rise up, Phantoms fans.
Hi fans, this is Mark Auld of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Listen to the games all season long with Bob Rochuck on Fox 1470.
As we were alluding to earlier, the Phantoms are now at 6.8% without Shane Gostisbehere on the power play. Since November 14th, their last 12 games. Lousy. Well, time to get that turned around. Phantoms win the faceoff, down 1-0. PPL power play. Alexi on the interference minor, and Ayers lash off center point to the high slot, and his shot on was deflected by Carter Rowney. He was just trying to throw it in there and get a tip or a rebound. Now lash off over to the right wing, stopping, giving it back. Cousins lash off, shoots. That one hit off his own teammate. I don't think it made it through to Murray. He had Brent and Colin McDonald, a couple of the captains and leaders down low. It hit off of one of those guys, I believe. And Wilkes-Barre Scranton picks up the garbage and clears it all the way down. Now Nick Cousins leads the rush into the zone, gives over to the left wing to Colin McDonald, dropping back to the blue line, but dribbled right back behind the line from Colin McDonald, looking to leave it for the trailer lash off. So an offsides call with 6:31 to go here in the first period and 1:11 left on the PPL power play. That's 3 for 44 in their last 12 games, including 0 for 1 today. Penalty kill has been great, and the power play has struggled, in sharp contrast to what we had back in October when the power play was very good and the penalty kill was slow to get going. Wilkes-Barre in a game against the Phantoms had 4 power play goals and a 6-3 win. And so the Phantoms are behind the 8 ball, and their penalty kill stats pretty much from the get-go after game 3 of the season went like that. Robert Hanks scoops circles in front of Anthony Stolars. And now Straka across the red line on the right wing. And now with his back turn, was still able to steer it in behind the Wilkes-Barre goal with 40 seconds to go on the power play. Penguins are there, quick to retrieve. Turn and fired all the way down ice. Penguins are 84.7% on the penalty kill, 11th in the league. Overall, 17-5. Tops in the Eastern Conference by percentage points over Toronto of the North Division. Stretch pass, now Danique Martel walking in, wants to snipe again. Contact with a goalie. Penalty is coming up against the Phantoms. A couple guys got into it there, Reed McNeil and Aaron Palushai. Palushai barreled into Matt Murray and knocked him down. And now Palushai being pulled away. Reed McNeil got a piece of him there, but it's Palush who will be called for the goaltender interference, and that will put a quick end to the Phantoms power play. 13 seconds prematurely. And we'll have a little 4-on-4 with 5:33 to go in the first period. And then Wilkes-Barre Scranton will go on their second power play of the game. And at first we thought that they had scored on the power play initially, but Taylor Lear had returned from the box on that last one. So Wilkes-Barre, when they go on the power play, they're 0 for their last 24 now, having fallen with their power play numbers to 18.6%, 10th in the league. Phantoms win the draw on their end with a little 4-on-4 time, and now Taylor Lear will hustle out of there right across the Phantoms logo at center, over to Tim Brent on the left wing, standing along the blue line on the wall, and then he lost it to Will O'Neill, the former St. John's Ice cap, and here comes Cale Morat back in. Cross ice, the pass got deflected, but makes it through to Kostopoulos in the right wing corner. Slammed it around the wall. Morat struggled with it. It was kind of hopping. Brent almost able to clear it out, as well as Drewiski. Cross ice, one-timer, Wilson. He scores, top shelf. As the puck popped all the way over to the other side, Scott Wilson cranks it up for his team-leading 12th goal of the year, and that one is a power play goal. The last one was not a power play goal by mere seconds. This one is. in the 0 for 24 drought for Wilkes-Barre Scranton on their man advantage comes to a rapid close. The Phantoms had killed 18 power plays in a row before allowing one to Hershey on Wednesday, and now they allow one to Wilkes-Barre on Friday. And just like Wednesday night, the Phantoms find themselves in a 2-0 hold of the opposition. So Penguins 2, Phantoms nothing, under 5 minutes to go. First period, shots are 7-6 Wilkes-Barre. And now Lehigh Valley from their end, and Goulburn trying to fire it out. Will O'Neill blocked it down, sends one onto the pads of Anthony Stolars, who steered it over to the right defensive corner. Lehigh Valley picked it up from there, fires it all the way across the ice through the defensive zone, and Goulburn out of there and a long clear.
Assisted by number 43, Connor Sheary, and number 51, Derek Pouliot at 14:59. Wilkes-Barre Scranton power play goal, Wilson from Sheary and Pouliot at 14:59.
Well, it's one leading scorer setting up another. Connor Sheary, the second-year pro out of Mass Amherst, who was their leading scorer last year with 45 points. He gets the assist, his 17th assist and 23rd point to set up the talented Scott Wilson with his 12th goal of the year. And Wilson had 19 goals last year in only 55 games with Wilkes-Barre. Sat out with injury for a little bit, also played one game with Pittsburgh. Their first goal was scored by Dominic Simon, and he is one of the top rookie scorers in the league, and Simon with his 10th of the year. So the big guns are getting it done for Wilkes-Barre Scranton to start. Davis Drewski just got outraced to the puck back there by Simon, who just stepped right in around him to steal it away. The Phantoms recover and clear it down. They'll take an icing violation. We'll bring the draw back to Lehigh Valley's side. And I'm watching Davis Drewski's body language, and maybe I'm reading a little bit into it there, but it looks like he's a little frustrated at himself for not hearing the footsteps there. He was just going back to play a puck, and before he knew it, Simon just flew right past him, right around him, stole it away from the 30-year-old veteran defenseman Davis Drewski, who I just don't think knew he was there. 4 minutes to go, first period, 2-0 Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Mike Sullivan's team off to a good start here in their debut appearance at PPL Center. They came here for a preseason game, so Mike Sullivan and the rest of these guys, most of them anyway, have been here before. Phantoms turn it over in their zone. LaMarche, a bad lead pass for Rankin, was picked off. And now cross ice. Will O'Neill, a shot through traffic. Bad save for Stolars. Comes out to the other side, and over there, Sundquist almost buried it, and he just fanned on it, but he had open net to work with on a good rebound. Phantoms chip it up ice. The guys on the fourth line trying to give some energy. Rankin, Bardreau, and Ray Kemp. Now Rankin from Bardreau trying to leave it out there on the doorstep. Poked away to the left wing wall and dug away by Tom Kostopoulos. And here come the Penguins with 3:12 to go in the first period. 8-6 Penguins on the shots. Remember, the Phantoms have had 2 power plays here in the first period, and a whole lot of nothing on those 2 power plays for the most part. Sheary and Scott Wilson, now he and Evan Rankin collided with each other while Rankin was down. Looked almost like a knee-on-knee. They're both kind of hopping around a little bit. I think they're fine. It wasn't too violent, but it was awkward. Now a centering pass, Cousins for Palushai. It was behind Palushai, who tried to reach back and corral it, but Scott Wilson, defending on him, was able to hold him away from the puck. Phantoms lifted all the way down ice. They take another icing call, and if you got to do it, then you got to do it. And the Phantoms take their second icing of the last couple of minutes, and we bring the draw back to the Lehigh Valley side again. Back at home tomorrow night against the Springfield Falcons on the WFMZ 69 Phantom schedule update. And it's our teddy bear toss to benefit the Valley Youth House. It's presented by Dan's Camera City. Bring those teddy bears and new or very gently used stuffed animals, which basically means we don't want the raggedy old ones. Come on, we're donating these to the kids. Let's bring in some new teddy bears and stuffed animals that the Valley Youth House will distribute to needy kids to help brighten their holiday season. It all goes to the kids, and it's great fun. And the Phantoms score their first goal, throw those teddy bears onto the ice, plus a post-game skate with the Phantoms players, presented by Big Woodies. 2:15 to go, first period. The Penguins are playing keep away back in their own end. Straka reaching out that stick, waving it around, and now Alexi's pass is chopped down on the Wilkes-Barre line by Cousins, but scooped right back up by Brian Rust, and back into the Phantom zone. Samuel Moran turns around and connects with Palushai. Moran blew a tire, but the Phantoms up ice on the rush. Palushai shoots it over the shoulder of Matt Murray. It was a give and go with Straka, and Palushai's shot just goes high over the crossbar. All 3 goals the Phantoms scored in their comeback on Wednesday were top shelf, and Palushai tried to continue that trend here against Matt Murray. Of course, the 3 top shelf goals Wednesday. A totally different goalie. It was Dan Ellis, the 35-year-old veteran for Hershey. This is Matt Murray, the 21-year-old young stud prospect for the Penguins. Phantoms up ice with a minute and a half to go first period. Back and forth, and scooped up by Tim Brent in his first game back after he missed 1 game with his injury that he started feeling on Saturday at Hershey. And then dug away, and Wilkes-Barre Simone tried to clear. Good knock. Carter Rowney there. And now receives it right back from Reed McNeil. Strongly right on the tape to Carter. Rowney carries it over the left wing. Felt a little bit of a hit by Max LaMarche, but Rowney with the 4th liners for the Penguins now out there. Digging it away, out in front, and a close call there. And that was Kevin Porter after Rowney won it on the end wall. Battled for the right wing corner. And there's Simone again. And the Phantoms can't clear the zone. Brent Haddock collides with Porter. Brent couldn't get a piece of the puck, couldn't get it out. Taylor Lear digging, jamming. Kevin Porter is able to hold the line, keep it in. Penguins outworking the Phantoms for the puck, and big time. Simone, a shot from center point, punched away, blocker Stolars. 30 seconds to go in the period. Penguins picked up that long rebound out in front. And there's Trubisky punching down Kevin Porter. And now Simone takes another shove from Trubisky, who's showing his frustrations there. Kevin Porter just got rocked in the slot there by Davis Trubisky. And then Lear and Porter, they were kind of jabbing away on each other, and Lear was trying to provoke an insight as best he could. Trubisky goes up to Kevin Porter. Well, no penalties doled out by the officials on that. Cale Mulrat on the draw against Kevin Gumas for the Phantoms with 22 seconds left first period. This final minute of the first has been lousy for the Phantoms. They won the faceoff, and Pouliot just stole it right back. And over to the left wing and trying to send it in is Scott Wilson with one of their 2 goals. Now the Phantoms were on one into the corner to Gumas. Up ice to Martel, hit off the linesman. And that's how it's gone for the Phantoms in the first period. Dumped in by Wilkes-Barre with a couple seconds left. Mulrat barrels into Moran. There's the horn, and the first period is over. And it looks like the feistiness that we had in the last few seconds will not carry over in the moments immediately following the horn, culminating the conclusion of the opening 20 minutes of play. Well, Matt Murray turned aside all 6 of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms shots that he faced. Similar to Wednesday, a couple of the openings that the Phantoms had missed by a mile. That's what Scott Gordon had said on Wednesday as well, that not only did they get a lot of shot attempts, but they had some other great opportunities that just missed the net. They need to get them on net here. But the play in the Phantoms end, and a couple of goals that came as a result of the power play. One of them was 5-on-5 right after Taylor Lear had returned. The other one was a power play goal, and it's Simone and Scott Wilson scoring the goals for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. And just like on Wednesday, the Phantoms find themselves in a 2-0 hole at the end of one. Wilkes-Barre Scranton 2 and Lehigh Valley nothing. Well, they made the comeback there on Wednesday. They'll have to try to do it again here on Friday on this T-shirt giveaway night inside PPL Center. Let's step aside for this break. The Service Electric Intermission Report is coming up in just a moment right here on Fox 1470. This is Phantoms Hockey.
Listening to this, it's on a radio in a backyard in between innings. The grass was mowed this morning, and the grill smells like heaven. And what do you know? Your friends just arrived with a 24-pack of Miller Lite, along with a few new friends to enjoy them with. Here's hoping we're right, and you're not just stuck in traffic. Here's hoping it's Miller time.
Great beer, great responsibility. 2015 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Life hasn't always been easy, but it's only going up from here. Lehigh Carbon Community College is my start. To go anywhere, to do anything. It's a better investment, which means I'm looking at a better future.
At L-Tri-C, you'll save thousands of dollars on a college education while getting the skills you need to finally earn more. Visit ltric.edu and enroll in one of our 90-degree programs today to reach higher tomorrow.
Face off at the Staybridge Suites, Allentown Bethlehem Airport, the preferred hotel for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. This is Megan Young, Director of Sales and Marketing. The Staybridge Suites, Allentown Bethlehem Airport is your home away from home, the perfect place to get comfortable. Whether you're in town on extended business, relocating to the area, or visiting on a family vacation, our spacious suites with living areas and fully equipped kitchens makes us the very picture of what extended stay should be. Whatever your reason for travel, you will experience the pleasure of attentive service, gracious hospitality, and outstanding quality that are the hallmark of the Staybridge Suites, Allentown Bethlehem Airport.
Smile Crafters, located on Cedar Crest Boulevard in Allentown, PA, is proud to be the official dental provider of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Take your family where the players go. They provide complete dental care for all ages and accept almost all insurances. They have a talented and caring team of general dentists, pediatric dentists, oral surgeons, orthodontists, periodontists, and endodontists all under one roof to keep every member of the family smiling. When convenient care matters, go to Smile Crafters, where they're all there for you.
Hi fans, this is Nick Cousins of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Listen to the games all season long with Bob Rochuk on Fox 1470.
The National Lacrosse League comes to PPL Center Saturday, December 19th. Check out the hard-hitting, fast-paced action as the former Philadelphia Wings, now known as the New England Black Wolves, take on the Buffalo Bandits. Tickets start at just $17 and are on sale now at pplcenter.com or call 610-347-TIX. NLL Lacrosse at PPL Center December 19th. Get your tickets today. The first few minutes for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms went fine, and I thought they were playing well even when they were down 1-0, but things kind of turned around after that. Penguins 2, Lehigh Valley 0 at the end of 1. I think we're going to hear from assistant coach Riley Cote coming up right now.
Downtown Allentown, Lehigh Valley trailing Wilkes-Barre 2-0 after the opening 20 minutes, getting outshot 8-6. Let's send it down to ice level and Christy Fulkerson.
Joined by assistant coach Riley Cote. Riley, the Penguins up 2 goals at this point. You said coming in they're a very aggressive team. What are they doing that's making it difficult to defend at this point?
Well, they play a very fast game. They forecheck hard. They're strong on the puck. They win a lot of board battles, so we got to do a better job at winning more board battles. And I think the first one was right at the end of a power play, and the second one was obviously a power play. But we just got to do a little bit better job on the second half of that period. But we started off well, I thought, and then we just got away from our game plan.
You guys were able to come back from a 2-goal deficit a couple nights ago. What is the first step in doing that when you come out in the second?
Well, I think we got to do what they're doing to us is just get pucks in behind and forecheck their defensemen and generate some turnovers and then just start funneling pucks to net from there. So we just got to get our legs going, stay out of the penalty box, and shoot pucks.
Thanks, Riley. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Health Network broadcast booth. Hi, it's Bob Rochuk back with you. It's the Coca-Cola Intermission Report, and on Wednesday night, the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, a dramatic come-from-behind win, 3-2 in overtime over the Hershey Bears. Velas Band post-game audio from downstairs in the locker room following that thrilling Wednesday night win. Here's Nick Cousins, who had the overtime winner.
Yeah, it's huge. I think we out-battled them in the first 2 periods, to be honest. They got a lucky power play goal there, and they got a 4-on-4 goal, but I think we took to them the most of the play, and it just carried over in the third, and we finally got our bounces. A couple nice shots there from Straka and Martel, and it's a new game, so we're lucky enough to get that one in overtime.
And what did you see on your goal there in the overtime?
Yeah, I think the guy fell behind the net or something, got a stick tied up, and I think I was screaming from the other blue line at Learsy that I was open, so I made a nice heads-up play, and I just beat him blocker side. I think there might have been a little bit of screen there, so it's huge for us.
You got a little bit of daylight to find the shooting lane there?
Yeah, I was actually going to go back to Learsy on the play. I think I wanted to pass the whole way, and then the guy made a good read, so it sort of opened up, and I just closed my eyes and shot it and it went in, so we'll take it.
Closing the eyes and taking the shot, huh?
Yeah, it'll work, I guess. Sometimes when you don't even know where it's going, I don't think the goalie knows where it's going. But no, hell of a play by Learsy. Stoli made the save down there at the end to start the play. So it's not only me, it's them. 2 big plays from them, and the game's over. So it's a huge win for us.
The patience pays off, though. Tonight you guys stuck in there. When all night, and then you finally played off.
Yeah, exactly. We got I think when we were going to get one, we were going to get two. So, Straka had a hell of a shot there, and Martel, very nice play by Learsy again. So, if you stay patient against teams like that, you're going to capitalize and you're going to get your chances, and they're going to eventually go in. So, we played a patient hockey game, like you said, and it paid off for us.
During your stint with the Flyers, did you feel a little more comfortable and settled in your stint last season?
Yeah, I think so. I think, every game I got more comfortable. Just being around the guys and whatnot, and playing in the NHL. It's the best league in the world, and it's the best league in the world for a reason. So, I think every game I got more and more comfortable up there, and that's where I want to be. It's no secret. So I think everyone wants to be there. So I'm just trying to push the envelope down here and become a better player every day. And when my chance comes again, I'll be ready.
That's Nick Cousins, who scored the overtime winning goal on Wednesday, 3-2 over the Hershey Bears. Now here's Peter Straka, whose goal with about 8.5 minutes left started the comeback for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Straka with 15 goals tied for the league lead with Devin Shore of the Texas Stars.
It's big for the confidence of the team. 2 points count as any other 2 points, but it does more for us today.
And that's sort of my next question. You have Wilkes-Barre coming in on Friday. Coach sort of talked about last week and how, a big game against Wilkes-Barre and then Hershey, they sort of take a lot out of you. How do you sort of regroup and get ready for another big test like that, another rivalry game?
Well, we have a, day of practice tomorrow. We're gonna work on some stuff that wasn't great today, and make sure we rehab well and just prepare physically and mentally for that game, because I'm sure they'll be coming in hot. They didn't have a great weekend last week, and it doesn't matter they're a worse team. They're still a team who was 16-2 last week, so it's going to be a big game for us, and we need to be ready to at least match the intensity that we had today. They probably didn't have a good feelings about themselves last week, so they'll be coming in hot, that's for sure.
The space that you had to get the puck through, not much, and you ended up really catching Dan Ellis off guard.
Yeah, I saw, as soon as I got a little bit off the angle, I saw him leaving the post a little bit, and I think he was pretty sure I'm going to shoot it for a weak side pad and just look for a rebound there. And I saw that hole, and I've made that shot a few times before in my life, so I have some confidence in it, and just picked it and couldn't go in much better than that.
That's Peter Straka on our Velaspan postgame audio. Donique Martel, with the beauty of a snipe, rushing into the slot with 2:59 to go, tied the game at 2-2. Here's Martel.
Coming back third period, 2-0, winning OT. I think it's better for us for the mental part, and we work hard all game, so we deserve that win. Like I said, we work so hard all game. Every part of the game, we played well. We got a good PK. We killed a lot of penalty, but we didn't give a lot of shots too. So we deserve that game. We work hard for it, and we came back and got the goal in OT. So we got 3 chances before that too. So we deserve that game.
How big was it to overcome more or less that mental edge that Hershey kind of had after the last game last Saturday? And it was kind of looking like it was almost going to turn out like that again.
Yeah, we didn't come back a lot this season, so just a game like this, coming back for third period, that's awesome. And for the mental part of the team, it's good, because if we're losing 1-0 and we know that we didn't do once in the year that we came back, it's gonna be a long game. But today we did it. We came back. We worked hard all game, so we deserve that win.
And now capping off our Velaspan post-game audio, Anthony Stolarz getting it done again. He has been tremendous, and another win for the big guy, the second-year pro out of Jackson, New Jersey.
Obviously, they only had 21 shots, so it was kind of an easy night compared to the last time we played these guys. But I think our forwards indeed did a good job of eliminating their chances off the rush. They didn't really get too much, but you just got to be mentally strong when you have little lulls like that. I mean, kind of in the second period, I had to stay sharp because they had four power plays. So games like that, you just want to just worry about getting that next shot and focusing on that, and not thinking like, oh man, I haven't faced a shot in a while. So
patience paid off for everybody tonight, didn't it?
Yeah, in between the second and third, Gordo came in here and kind of challenged us to go out there and give it our all this period. Our second period wasn't the greatest. Obviously taking the 4 penalties, but I think 5-on-5 we played extremely well. And in the third period, we stayed out of the box and were able to just chip away at their lead.
How much has Brady Robinson been a help in your development?
He's been huge, having him here and being able to work with him, throughout training camp and then now into the season. So it's been a tremendous help for me. It's really helped me on my patience and my angles, and you can definitely see the results in my game. My composure back there is, I'm not flopping as much as I did last year, and I'm just kind of letting the play come to me.
That's goalie Anthony Stolarz wrapping up our Velaspan post-game audio. This is the Coca-Cola Intermission Report. Bob Rotruck here with you from the Lehigh Valley Health Network broadcast booth, high atop PPL Center. It's Game 2 of our 5-game homestand. The Lehigh Valley Phantoms against the Hershey Bears in round 5 out of 12. We have more coming up in just a moment, including the out-of-town scoreboard, our scoring summary from the first period, and then second period play-by-play is on the way on Fox 1470. This is Phantoms Hockey.
Chicago. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Two of the most prolific bands in history hit the concert stage together. April 10th, 7:30 at the PPL Center. Get on your feet and party with Chicago. And Earth, Wind, and Fire, a night of non-stop hits. April 10th, 7:30 at the PPL Center. On stage together for an amazing encore. Tickets on sale now at pplcenter.com. The PPL Center box office or chart by phone. The heart of Chicago and the soul of Earth, Wind, and Fire. Produced by Live Nation.
Are you looking for the perfect holiday gift for the sports fan in your life? Get them a Phantoms holiday pack, including 2 tickets to a Phantoms game, 2 tickets to a lacrosse game, an autographed stick, and a Phantoms beer stein. With a variety of great games to choose from, Phantoms holiday packs are the perfect gift for this holiday season. Call a Phantoms ticket representative at 610-224-GOAL, 610-224-4625.
Come get rocked. Def Leppard. Sticks. And they're bringing along Tesla. Def Leppard. February 17th, the PPL Center. What unforgettable night. Tickets are on sale now at pplcenter.com. The PPL Center box office or chart by phone. 610-347-TIX. Def Leppard. Sticks. Tesla.
Hi fans, this is Anthony Stolarz of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Listen to the games all season long with Bob Rotruck on Fox 1470.
2-0 Penguins leading it here in downtown Allentown at the end of 1 on goals by Simone and Wilson, 2 of their top guns. And for Scott Wilson on the power play later in the first period, his 12th of the year, coming at 14:59. Goes high glove with a big one-timer from the top of the right circle. Back inside PPL Center from the Lehigh Valley Health Network broadcast booth here on the Service Electric Intermission Report. And now time for our Coca-Cola out-of-town scoreboard. Reading Royals on the road at the first place Florida Everblades in the ECHL. Reading lost there on Wednesday in a shootout 3-2. They trail in the first period today 1-0. Philly Flyers tonight are on the road to the Dallas Stars. That game starts at 8:30, so not underway yet. Games in progress in the NHL. LA Kings lead at Pittsburgh 1-0. Tanner Pearson's 4th of the year. Jonathan Quick against Marc-Andre Fleury there. No score, Red Wings at New Jersey. Jimmy Howard against Corey Schneider. Those are the only games started. Patrick Kane's 24-game point streak is on the line as the Blackhawks host Winnipeg. Later tonight, New York Rangers are at Edmonton, among other games. American Hockey League, Rochester at St. John's tied at 1 at the end of 2. Albany Devils looking for a franchise record 7-game win streak. They are scoreless against Syracuse at the end of 1. Chicago in the Western Conference trails at Lake Erie. It's 2-0 for the Monsters at the end of 1. They just received Marco Dano back from the Columbus Blue Jackets. The young talent can't seem to stick in the NHL. Bridgeport at the Portland Pirates, no score, end of 1. Springfield has scored against Andrew Hammond on a conditioning assignment now with the Binghamton Senators. It's the Falcons 1, the Binghamton Senators 0. Springfield trailing the Phantoms in the Atlantic Division by a couple of points, and they have been struggling, but they're leading at home over the North Division cellar dwellers Welling Beesons. First place Toronto Marlies are 18-5-1. They are on the road to the Utica Comets. That is no score there at the end of one as well. Hartford at Providence in a 1-1 tie. Chris Casto scores for the P Bruins, who have won 4 in a row. That is your Coca-Cola out-of-town scoreboard here inside PPL Center. Not a very good start for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. They're getting killed along the boards. After I said it on the air, Riley Cote, the assistant coach, said the exact same thing in his interview with Christy Fulkerson. Gotta do better and work harder on the boards. They're getting clobbered. Wilkes-Barre taking away pretty much every loose puck, every free puck that is available there. Wilkes-Barre 2, Lehigh Valley nothing. We'll see what the Phantoms can bring to the table against the first place Penguins in the second period, which is coming right up on Fox 1470. This is Lehigh Valley Phantoms hockey.
Fans for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Friday night against the Wilkes-Barre Penguins, our t-shirt giveaway, ugly holiday sweater style. Saturday night post-game open skate with the Phantoms players, plus our annual teddy bear toss. Throw your teddy bear donation onto the ice after the Phantoms' first goal. Tickets at pplcenter.com or call 610-347-TIX, 610-347-8499. T-shirts and teddy bears. Rise up, Phantoms fans.
Whatever your taste in sports, you can always count on the great taste of Coke Zero.
Nice shot.
Coke Zero, the official great tasting choice of sports fans everywhere.
Some say the sky is the limit, and I think that's true. I've set my sights on endless possibility. For me, that begins at Lehigh Carbon Community College, because learning from outstanding faculty means that I'm getting an outstanding education.
In as little as 2 years, you can earn your associate degree at LTRI-C or transfer your credits to a 4-year college. It's that easy. Visit ltric.edu and enroll in one of our 90-degree programs today to reach higher tomorrow.
Hey fans, this is Kevin Gumas, number 17. Listen to all Phantom games on Fox 1470 with Bob Rocha.
Well, I love the possibilities of that third line with Kevin Gumas centering for Tyrell Goulburn and Danik Martel. They were pretty quiet in the first period, and yeah, we had some special teams in there. Both teams had 2 power plays, so that's almost 8 full minutes that we had of one power play or another, but we still had 12 minutes of 5-on-5 time, and those guys just weren't able to do a whole lot. There was one good rush up the right wing, I remember, for Martel, and Goulburn and Gumas were trying to connect as well. But time for the guys to get going and got to do better in the board battles as well. Well, the Phantoms will start with their top line with Tim Brent centering for Taylor Lear and Colin McDonald. McDonald needs to kind of create some havoc out there and see what he can accomplish. Brent against Mulrad. Sticks come down. Mulrad wins the center draw to begin the second period, and the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins fired in deep. Wilkes-Barre with a 2-0 lead here on the road at Lehigh Valley. Well, when the Phantoms won in Wilkes-Barre last Friday, they fell behind early, only 1-0 on their way to winning 3-1. It was really a 2-1 game on the Mark Alt tie-breaking goal before Taylor Lear's empty netter. Spinorama shot from the high slot for the Penguins. There's Scott Wilson looking for another, and a stick save for Anthony Stolars. Now, a penalty back in the Phantom zone. Samuel Moran was tripped up, and I didn't see the referee signal it because the guy who called it was way out on the red line. The referee was right on top of it in the corner, pocketed the whistle there. The other referee called Mulrad for the trip as he yanked out the feet from underneath Samuel Moran behind the Phantoms' goal. So it's a big opportunity for Lehigh Valley to try to get back into this game and try to get their power play on track in any way, shape, or form. The Phantoms on their third PPL power play of the game. They are 3 for 45 in their last 12 games. That is a little over 6% since the departure of Shane Gostisbehere, which, as you must know, is a huge difference maker on the power play at the NHL level or AHL level or any level. Wilkes-Barre won it, but they're clear is intercepted by Colin McDonald walking right in. And then he ran into some stick traffic there, and Tim Brent takes a tumble down in the corner. On the right wing corner is Taylor Lear keeping it in. Hopper to the point. Nice work by Matt Lashoff, the veteran from the Albany area, holding the line. Nick Cousins rolls it around the wall. McDonald to the other side. Tim Brent for Lear. Plays it back to Lashoff, cross ice. Cousins is open and shooting, pinballing puck Lear trying to chip it on and send it over the crossbar. Good work, though. Now Tim Brent wins it away along the boards. Hey, winning those board battles. What do you know? Colin McDonald there as Tim Brent takes a spill for the second time here on this power play. Colin McDonald so strong on the puck, and Brent got blasted in there by Carter Rowdy. Well, he pops up, and for the third time, it looks like he's fine. Nick Cousins from the right circle, dangles a little, no opening for the shot. Taylor Lear on the gift from Cousins behind the goal. To Tim Brent open on the left wing half wall. 18.5 to go in the second. 1 minute left on the power play. Swing and a miss. Lear goes over to Colin McDonald. His stick tied up by Alexi. Lear on top of Alexi, wins it away, keeps it in. Cousins, one-timer. That one hit off of the defenseman Alexi, who shakes his right hand. He felt that one on his arm. And now the Penguins on the loose puck, able to clear the zone finally. Back to the Lehigh Valley end. And a change on the penalty kill for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. 18 minutes even to play in the second period. 30 seconds to go on the PPL power play. Energy for life, the Phantoms' third of the game. Up ice across the line. Martel's pass goes behind Palushai, picked up by Moran. Centering, swing and a miss. Palushai came on the wrong side for him. Robert Hank tried to send it on. Hops off a Penguins stick and back out to the Phantoms line. And Straka lost his edge. A lot of falling out there here in the early moments of the second period. Straka recovers with help from Robert Haig. Back up ice and into the zone. Cross ice to Haig again on the right wing. Tangled up with Oscar Sundquist. Palushai had it on the right wing half wall. Out of the box, Mulrat. Long stretch pass. Mulrat in behind the D, so beats the icing. Stolars plays it around. They were going for the home run and the breakaway. Trying for Mulrat. Galloping in out of the box. That pass was way wide of him. Now the Phantoms back in. We're 5-on-5. Straka shoots it high over the glove of Murray. Takes a weird bounce off the stanchion. Rolls out kind of funny. Away from Martel and onto the stick of Jean-Sebastien Dean. And he and Tom Kuhnhackl looking to connect. We didn't see Kuhnhackl last time we played Wilkes-Barre. He was out with injury. Nice chip forward. Rankin is in up the left wing, trying to center for LaMarche, joining the rush. Everyone else changing. Penguins trailing D. Able to recover there. Tim Erickson, the former Columbus Blue Jackets prospect, fires it high in the air, and Kuhnhackl was a mile offside before the blue line, before the puck rather, crossed the plane of the blue line. So we got a whistle here in the second period with 16:45 to go. The Phantoms now 0 for 3 on the power play. Man, that is just a killer. They went 0 for 5 on Wednesday. So it's not exactly off to a flying start for the power play unit in game 2 of this 5-game homestand. Dominic Simon is 10th of the year at 249 on the shot pass from Tim Erickson. And Simon, one of the top rookie scorers in the league, converted for his 10th, and Scott Wilson on the power play at 14:59. Simone's was not on the power play. It was when Lear was just coming out of the box. Wilkes-Barre retrieves it in their zone now, having held the Phantoms to 0 for 3 on the power play. And there's that rookie we were just talking about, Simone, trying to connect with Pouliot, who's a good one. Derek Pouliot, former teammates with Taylor Lear in the Western Hockey League. They were with the Portland Winterhawks. For Mike Johnston, who's now the head coach, of course, of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sent in by the Phantoms. Colin McDonald in after it, and he forces a turnover. Walking in, Taylor Lear, sharp angle, Murray, the save it off his shoulder. Lear picked it up on the other side, drops for Lashoff. Dangle to the left circle, shooting, and a stick save, Matt Murray. Found that Lashoff drive through all the traffic. Oh, that was great work by Colin McDonald, who might be playing the best of all the Lehigh Valley Phantoms in the opening 24 minutes of this game. Penguins clear. Phantoms trying to catch the Penguins on a slow change. Here they come into the zone. Lear looking to lead Brent. And it was off the back of his stick blade there as he was defended by Reed McNeil. And Wilkes-Barre Scranton is able to roll and glide it back to the Phantom side. 15.5 to go in the second. Penguins 2, Phantoms nothing. Crowd a little bit on the quiet side today, waiting for something big to cheer about. Here's Palushai trying to get an angle on McNeil, takes a tumble. Oh, he was awkwardly tangled in the stick there of McNeil and crashes out into the end boards, but the Detroit native Palushai is okay. Nicely banked across. Drewiski found open ice trying to connect with Palushai. Instead, it bounced away from him to Straka. Now Drewiski finds the loose puck coming his way again. This time he sends it towards the net and right into the glove of Matt Murray, hanging on with 15:03 to go in the second period and a 2-0 lead for the Penguins. It was one heck of a debut season in the American Hockey League for the former Sault Ste. Marie Greyhound. Matt Murray was teammates there with Nick Cousins and Brandon Alderson. Alderson is a healthy scratch today, by the way, as is Jay Rosehill. Those are the two healthies. And the two guys who were injured returning to the lineup are Cole Bardrow, who's on the draw right now, on a line with Rankin and Raykamp, and also Tim Brent back in the lineup. Jesper Pettersson is still out. He took an injury in the opening second Saturday at Hershey. He was skating this morning, and to my observation, looked like he wanted to see if he would be able to play, but decided it wasn't going to happen for him today. So maybe not tomorrow, but perhaps on Wednesday in the rematch against the Pens. Raykamp in there and drops it to the right point. LaMarche in behind the goal. Evan Rankin looking to kind of wiggle his way free. He does. Banks it up high to Drewiski, looking for his first goal of the season. He's hit the pipe at least a couple of times against the Providence Bruins, and maybe more than that than I can remember. So he's come close a couple of times. Back and forth across the blue line as Drewiski was back skating, so the Phantoms had to back off. Quickly recover, and now Gumas is in on a stretch pass there. Nicely onto his tape by Max LaMarche, but Gumas was caught up to trying to go across from right to left. Here's Martel speeding his way in behind the goal. Escapes the wrap-up try of Tim Erickson, and then he just fanned on it, falling away in the left dot after he came out over there. Here's Kevin Gumas on the right wall, kept it in on a shot off the pad. It's loose. Martel reaching. Erickson was able to block off his stick. Goldburn was in there too, and the puck finally rolled out of harm's way to the corner, and Cale Mullerat is able to clear the zone. Mullerat, a guy who had a shootout winner against the Phantoms here in this building last year for Bridgeport. A couple players crash into the Penguins' net, or bench rather. Mark Alt, a little slow to get up. He's okay. Phantoms fired it all the way down, and they take an icing call, so the draw comes back to the Phantom side with 13:44 to go in the second period. Yeah, Cale Mullerat was on Bridgeport last year. So was our guy, Colin McDonald, and those two guys teamed up to help Bridgeport come back here at PPL Center last year on our Teddy Bear Toss, which we have again coming up tomorrow. Colin McDonald tied it for Bridgeport with just a few minutes left, and then Cale Mullerat won it in the shootout. And now they are facing against each other. Neither guy with the Islanders system anymore. A little bit of an explanation there at the bench. Actually, the linesman wasn't providing an explanation. He was looking for something for his finger there, maybe a little cut or something. So he comes right back out, drops the puck. Kevin Gumas on the draw, wins it in the corner. Penguins get there to it. Jean-Sebastien Guy, their second-year pro center, just like Gumas for the Phantoms. He and Gumas, a couple of scrappy little guys, battled for it along the boards. Gumas knocked it back to Mark Alt, and now at the right wing, galloping along, and Martel will dump it in. Phantoms needed a line change on the other side of that icing, and on the Gumas face-off win, they were eventually able to obtain that line change. Now with 13:18 to go, second period, walking in, Brian Russ Stolars, leaning across, was able to get a deflection on one and knock it away after Russ turned the corner and was that close to making it a 3-0 game. But it stays 2-0 Wilkes-Barre, and now time for our hometown hero presentation.
Sergeant Michael Hufford, a graduate of Southern Lehigh, Sergeant Hufford enlisted as a Marine in 2003. He has served 2 tours during Operation Iraqi Freedom before returning home in 2010. While deployed, he delivered convoys of supplies from camp to camp. Sergeant Hufford received 3 Meritorious Achievement Medals during his 7 years of service.
Please join me in welcoming tonight's hometown hero, Sergeant Michael Hufford. As a small token of our gratitude, Kevin Schill, Director of Ticket Sales, is presenting a Lehigh Valley Phantoms jersey to tonight's hometown hero, Sergeant Michael Hufford.
The National Lacrosse League comes to PPL Center Saturday, December 19th. Check out the hard-hitting, fast-paced action as the former Philadelphia Wings, now known as the New England Black Wolves, take on the Buffalo Bandits. Tickets start at just $17 and are on sale now at pplcenter.com or call 610-347-TIX. NLL Lacrosse at PPL Center December 19th. Get your tickets today.
Hi fans, this is Peter Straka of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Listen to the games all season long with Bob Rolltrack on Fox 1470.
Well, some of the effort and some of the energy is a little bit improved here in the second period for Lehigh Valley. Most notably, the battles along the boards. which was very good on Wednesday against Hershey. Not so much in the first period here today. Phantoms win the draw on their end. Now Colin McDonald leads it up the left wing and centering. Here's Taylor Lear, backhand to forehand. Couldn't get off the shot, and he got hooked there, or slashed, and a penalty is coming up as Carter Rowney, I think, got a piece of Taylor Lear, so a penalty. And now across ice, 6-on-5 for the Phantoms after pulling Stolars, and somehow they were able to pass it away from the pursuit of Simone. Here's Nick Cousins on the left wing wall. Cousins, 2 men on him, finds Taylor Lear behind the net. Out in front, Colin McDonald bangs it off of Matt Murray, close range. And then touched in the corner by Wilkes-Barre Scranton. It's not a slash, but it will be a hook. It goes against Carter Rowney to the box. This penalty comes at 7:21 into the second period, and the Phantoms to go, ready to embark on their 4th PPL power play of the game. Getting powered up again, energy for life. There was a game here, the first time the Penguins arrived at PPL Center last year in late October. The Phantoms went 0 for 10 on the power play, and they lost that game in overtime 2-1. And that was kind of a big old coming out party for Matt Murray, who showed all the AHL how good he was on his way to being in a game that wasn't one of his 12 shutouts that year. The officials are conferring, and they're trying to figure out exactly who they should call the slashing against. I think one referee thought one guy and another ref thought the other, and it's a hooking, not a slashing, I beg your pardon. Well, they're pulling, I thought it was Rowney. They're pulling Simone off the bench and taking him to the box. Sometimes they just don't know. They see the infraction and they can't remember which number, or they couldn't quite see which number guy did it. And Carter Rowney is just standing around, ready to take the draw. I thought it was Rowney, but I couldn't swear to it either, and frankly, neither can the officials, so now I don't feel so bad about that. 4th power play of the game for Lehigh Valley. 12:39 to go, second period. Got to take advantage of these power plays sooner or later. Matt Lashoff on the right wing half wall into the corner, and Colin McDonald taking a beating from 2 Penguins players, hangs on to the puck. Reed McNeil lost his stick but has time to pick it up. Matt Lashoff on the right wing wall, down low and trying to center there. That was Colin McDonald looking to pop it through to Tim Brent, but a couple of Wilkes-Barre sticks in the slot deflected it away. Cousins held the line on the left point, but then it was rattled around the boards and all the way around and out. Phantom still getting used to this new power play setup without Gostisbehere, now without Andrew McDonald. It would take and go spot. Lashoff is doing okay, I think, on center point. Hopping puck through the slot, rushing into the zone. Cousins gave it in. Now Lear from the right dot and off the iron, and how? A blast on a snapper from the right circle and beating Matt Murray, who had no chance, and he cranked it off the inside of the post. And now Lashoff got clobbered there in open ice. And a penalty is coming up against Wilkes-Barre Scranton to make it 5-on-3. Are they calling Lashoff for this? They are. Now, are they calling a delay of game on Lashoff? Did his hand enclose the puck? Boy, he got leveled there in open ice, and I thought an elbowing. And Lashoff disputing the decision with the referee here as he goes to the box. And it looks like a delay of game penalty on Matt Lashoff, so I wonder if that was closing hand on puck. I'd like to see a replay if he, inadvertently fell on the puck after he took an elbow to the head. Well, the Phantoms go to 0 for 4 on the power play through no fault of their own. They still had over a minute to go on that one, and they don't think they had the benefit of a proper call there as Lashoff gets sent to the sin bin. 4-on-4 now. Phantoms come up with the puck in their end, trailing 2-0, 11.5 to go here in the second period. Straka deflects it in around Will O'Neill, back in behind the goal, and there's Tim Erickson picking it up off the boards, and on the backhand shovel around to Brian Rust. Second-year pro at Notre Dame is a good one, and then Porter got shoved across the line by Gumas. Nice thinking there by Kevin Gumas. While Brian Rust still had it on the blue line, Gumas just gave a big old shove into the back of Porter, who was basically having position on Gumas, so Gumas said, here, go ahead even further, and he shoved him off sides. Like that play there by Kevin Gumas on the 29-year-old former teammate of Aaron Palusha at the University of Michigan, who has played a few games with the Pittsburgh Penguins this year and 500 games in the pros, including over 200 in the NHL with Pittsburgh and Buffalo, Colorado, and Phoenix for Kevin Porter.
2 minutes for delay of game at 8:15. Phantoms penalty, Lashoff. 2 minutes for delay of game.
Well, it's not an embellishment for a delay of game. We never saw a replay of it. So my only hunch is that when he fell with his hand on top of the puck, And I can't swear to that. I'm just guessing. I didn't see it happen, but there's only so many different ways he could be called for delay of game. Shot from the point is deflected and rude, and Stolarz leaning to his left made a fine save with the right leg on Will O'Neill's long drive. That was a bit of a changeup, but still only the goalie able to find it. Now popping out of the box is Simone, and the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins are on their third power play of the game for 50 seconds. And fighting for it and holding it in along the end boards behind the Penguins goal in his first game back is the rookie from Cornell, Cole Bardreau, and did some good work there against 3 Penguins before Wilkes-Barre Scranton finally was able to work it free. Now Wilkes-Barre Scranton, here come the Penguins, 30 seconds to go on the first generation penalty kill. Goulbourne blocked down Pouliot's lead pass. Tracks it down over on the left glass. First one there, he beat Mulrat to the puck. And Goulbourne slammed it all the way back Matt Murray's way. Here's Pouliot to the red line, around Kevin Gumas, passes to the right wing, and a shot around Drewski and around the boards to Cale Mulrat on the other side. 10 seconds left on the penalty to Lashoff. And now here's Pouliot, one-timer on a give across by Sheary, and Pouliot missed it wide, might have been deflected. Lashoff out of the box. That quick power play for the Baby Pens is over. We're 5-on-5. Puck was popped in the air towards Anthony Stolarz on the side of the net, and he'll catch it, and he almost got bumped with the skate of his own teammate Davis Drewski cutting across. It worked out all right. Drewski backed off as Anthony Stolarz came out to his right in the crease and caught it and hung on. So we step aside now for this break, and it comes with 9:41 to go in the second period, just past the midway point. Wilkes-Barre Scranton 2, Lehigh Valley nothing. On Fox 1470, this is Phantoms Hockey.
Maybe it's hot out today, or maybe it's cold, but this weather's got you thinking about heading to the bar for an ice-cold Coors Light. Maybe it's a bar built into the steep cliff face of the Rocky Mountains with a waterfall that pours down on a multitude of Coors Lights, chilling them with the frigid power of a Rocky Mountain stream. You order one and it suddenly appears in your hand. It's so cold you feel like a giant eagle riding on cool winds, content with your foray into Rocky Mountain country. Forgot about the weather already, didn't you? Thanks, Coors Light. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Great beer, great responsibility.
Ready to live life on the go? Introducing the new Go Guide app, powered by The Morning Call. Now it's easy to discover local entertainment, hot shows, cool bars, happy hour deals, restaurants, and more. Maybe even win some prizes. You can bookmark your favorite events, invite your friends, make plans, and purchase tickets right from the app. Doesn't get any easier than that. Download the free app today at themorningcall.com/Go Guide app and start living life on the go.
Hi fans, this is number 9, Cole Bardreau. Listen to all the Phantoms games on Fox 1470 with Bob Roadtruck.
Welcome back, Cole Bardreau. And if you can name the injury, Bardreau has probably had it all the way back to a couple of years ago when he had the broken neck, the very scary incident in a game just 2 weeks after he had won a gold medal for Team USA in 2013, teammates with Shane Gostisbehere at the World Juniors. Then he's back playing for Cornell in a game, I believe, against RPI, Rensselaer Polytech Institute out of Troy, New York. And they've had some terrific years in a national championship in 1984, by the way, if you've never heard of RPI. Anyway, he had a broken neck in that game, didn't even know it. He kept on playing, and he didn't really feel the full effects of it until Monday. Here's Nick Cousins rushing up the right circle and sending one on towards Matt Murray. And he's able to smother it there. We'll have a face-off in the Penguin zone. Wilkes-Barre Scranton leads 2-0. Well, Cole Bardreau this year on October 17th, he left the game. Well, you know, he blocked a shot on the penalty kill off of his hand. It was actually off of his thumb. And then he came back out, took a shift, and then he left the game again. And I thought maybe it was because he tried to play, and it turned out to not be happening for him. Well, what happened was the very next shift, he took a weird slice with a skate that kind of came up in the air and got him in the lower arm. And that slice injury kept him out 3 weeks. Then he comes back, plays one game. He's on the fourth line, is told going in, you're only going to play maybe 2 shifts a period, 6 shifts all game. We're going to ease you back into it. And he takes a knee injury in that one. Thankfully, you know, it was serious enough for 5 weeks, but not serious enough to cost him the whole season. So Cole Bardreau has had a very weird injury history, particularly this year, but also 2 years ago with that weird broken neck that he didn't even know he had, and kept on playing in the game in a very potentially scary scenario. Wilkes-Barre scoops one up in their own end, and here they come with under 9 minutes to go. Second period from the right wing, shooting. Sharp angle over the shoulder of Stolarz on the drive by Kostopoulos. Kept in by Alexi, the former Hershey Bear captain on the point. Drop for Pouliot, talented second-year pro with worlds of talent, but really not exactly lighting it up this year. Maybe a bit of a sophomore slump for Pouliot. 4 goals, 11 assists. Driven all the way down ice. Icing waved off. Palushai got there to it. Out in front through Goulburn to Cousins trailing. Stops, turns, shoots wide. Well, there was a lot of recovering there on passes that weren't quite on the money. Palushai got there to it and fired it right backwards behind him for a trailing Goulburn, but missed him. Kind of missed Cousins too, who picked the puck, but then had to kind of spin around the other way before he could get off the shot, allowing the Penguins to at least get a little bit back on balance and into position. Backhand to shovel around Alexei behind the goal. Brian Russ tried to center out in front. He popped it off the back of the net. And the Phantoms carry it away. 2-0 lead for Wilkes-Barre. We're not exactly lighting it up against the goalies here today. Shots are 11-11, and that's it. Now a hopper, Drewiski, a shot from the left circle. That one onto Matt Murray, sliding over to his right, and now a Phantoms player got clobbered over there. And a penalty is coming up as Taylor Lear goes down. He's back up, and he's okay. And Alexei to go to the box for the second time today with some relative viciousness. Thankfully, Lear is all right. He took one up in the chops, and yeah, he's kind of blinking his eyes and trying to make sure everything feels okay and in the proper places. So the Phantoms to go on their 5th power play of the game now. Wilkes-Barre Scranton is doing their darndest. That's a high sticking against Alexei. Wilkes-Barre Scranton is doing everything possible to help the Phantoms get back into this game. A couple of the penalties, maybe they had some sort of dispute, but I'm not even sure which penalties those might have been. I mean, as best as I can recall, at least 3 or 4 of them have been clear as day. They have nothing to complain about. They're taking some really silly, goofy penalties. And Alexei, who leads their team with 43 pins, now 47, has been assessed with 2 of them. High sticking, 2-minute minor, face-off win Penguins, they clear. Phantoms are 0 for 4 today. Colin McDonald lost it trying to cross the line on the right wing. Circles around, took a little bump there from Nicholas Anderson, the former LA Kings draft selection. 27-year-old defenseman is Anderson. And now the Phantoms retrieve it in their own end after another clear. And already 30 seconds on this man advantage wasted. Brent around the wall. There's Lear there, so he's fine after that high stick. Colin McDonald trailing away to the left wall and drops for Lashoff center point. Tim Brent drifting back to the right point is open. Lashoff guarded up high by Brian Rust. Here's Brent. Now he hands it off down low for Taylor Lear in the right wing corner. Carrying it up the boards and then slamming it in around Reed McNeil. Past the reach of Colin McDonald. Sails out on the carom to Tim Brent left boards. Back around to Cousins. It comes and he shoots it off the left pad of Matt Murray with Colin McDonald setting a screen, taking his eyes. Phantoms are getting much better traffic in front of the goalie with the return of Colin McDonald playing a big role in that. 6:30 to go in the second. 50 seconds left. PPL power play. Long tangle up in the corner. And Lear, Cousins, and McDonald team up to dig it away back to Lashoff. Now Tim Brown on the left wing wall. Wilkes-Barre Scranton penalty killers have been out there for a while and probably getting a bit gassed. Rammed around the boards. Cousins on the right wing wall. He's guarded over there by Kevin Porter. Drops it off, shovels over to Lashoff. Cross ice, one-timer, might have been off the outside of the iron there behind Matt Murray on that one-timer on the left circle. Very close it was, whether it hit the post or just the side of the netting or not. And the Penguins finally picked up a loose puck, got it clear, and able to sneak in a change on the fly as well. Robert Haig now glides his way through the D, in on goal, and then he shot it about a mile high over the crossbar. Oh, Robert Haig wasn't even close after some pretty stick work weaving in towards Matt Murray. He lifted that way in the air. Now Palushai from the right point off the shoulder of Matt Murray. Alexei is out of the box, and the Phantoms are now 0 for 5. And now the Phantoms steal it away. Another turnover. Martell shooting, pad save. It's a loose puck in the middle. It's a scramble and a slot carried in behind the goal. Straka and Palushai go barging in back behind the Wilkes-Barre net for it with Carter Rowney back there. And finally, the Penguins kind of in bend but not break mode now, able to sail it back to the Lehigh Valley side. Well, Martell got off a good shot. We had a pipe shot earlier in this period. Taylor Lear. Phantoms have had some very close calls, and well, now it's a matter of Lehigh Valley not quite buying a break, but they're playing the better hockey right now. Now Davis Drewski, long stretch pass, catching him on the change. Here's Rankin, he's in with Bardreau on the move, and Rankin shot it wide. Needed to get that one on Murray so that they could get a rebound for Bardreau. But off the end boards, Margall pinches all the way up high. Now Drewski shooting off of Matt Murray. He never saw it. It hits off of him. Goes in behind the goal. Bardreau is there. Out to Margall, shoots it off the shoulder of Matt Murray. Alt scored against Matt Murray in the second period last Friday. Alt again, great stop for Drewski to keep it in, and now stolen by the Penguins. They have numbers. Morad with Wilson in the middle. Now he fires it across. Connor Sheary shooting off the blocker of Anthony Stolars. Well, they had numbers briefly, but Wilkes-Barre was desperate for a change of players. Boy, they were really gassed in their own end. Phantoms had a number of close calls there on Matt Murray and unable to bury it. 4:05 to go, second period. Penguins 2, Phantoms nothing. Cole Bardreau spins around in the Wilkes-Barre end, scooped right back up by Connor Sheary. Now stolen back there by Tim Brent, who got slammed from behind, and now he's down and hurt. And that was Tim Erickson who blasted him from behind, and neither referee deemed that one a penalty, but Brent coming back over to the bench and crumpled over and holding his hand and hurt. More hitting back in the Penguins' end. Wilkes-Barre Scranton comes up with it. Samuel Moran blasted a man. Erickson is the one who got Tim Brent. Well, we're not sure of his status, and a shot and a goal, and it's 3-0 Wilkes. Simone from the left dot has scored his second of the game as the Phantoms were scrambling in their own end after they came so close to scoring on so many occasions back on the Wilkes-Barre side. And Scott Gordon, I think, is incensed, and I think he wants to talk with the referee. He is screaming out at the referee and pointing back the other way where Tim Brent was clobbered by Tim Erickson and was cross-checked from behind. Carter Rowney fed it across to Simone, who scored it for his second of the game, his 11th of the year, and his 4th against the Phantoms. And it's 3-0 Wilkes-Barre Scranton on a huge turn of events here. The Phantoms came so close to getting 1 or even 2. And then there was the penalty that wasn't called. And Wilkes-Barre Scranton, I mean, they keep playing that feisty style even though they've been tagged for 5 penalties. And that one very likely should have been a 6th. Right in front of the referee, too. And then popped up in the air off the center faceoff. And we're going to have another one. I think it was a high stick that was called. So play blown down, and now we step aside. Scott Gordon really wanted to talk with the officials about that and was arguing about it. And the referee said, nope, sorry, see you later. We step aside with 3:26 to go, period 2. Wilkes-Barre Scranton 3, Lehigh Valley nothing. On Fox 1470, this is Phantoms Hockey.
69 News covers the region better than any other news station.
With more reporters covering the stories that matter to you.
With more in-depth coverage of news from your neighborhood.
We're always connected with you during the day on your phone.
And at night, we're here to bring you the breaking stories.
And developments happening now.
I'm Rob Vaughn.
I'm Wendy Davis.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Ed Hanna.
I'm Kathy Crane.
And I'm 69 Sports Director Troy Hines.
Join us weeknights for 69 News.
Your life, your world, your news at 5, 6, and 10 p.m.
Capital Blue Cross champions the fearless in all of us.
Fearless is painting the nursery before knowing if it's a boy or a girl. It's letting her take the first step all by herself, even when you know she might fall. It isn't helping her with everything, but giving her the confidence to do everything.
Fearless is knowing Capital Blue Cross is there, protecting you with the power of a card that opens doors in all 50 states. Capital Blue Cross. Live fearless.
Hi, this is Tim Brent, number 37 with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Catch the games all season long with Bob Road Truck on Fox 1470.
We will be keeping a watchful eye on Tim Brent. He came back to the bench holding his hand. He had been upended a few times in a couple earlier shifts, but there he got crushed by Tim Erickson. Phantoms wanted a cross-checking call. None coming, and then on the ensuing rush by the Penguins, and the Phantoms still in scramble mode, and Brent just barely having made it back to the bench after he was knocked down. Carter Rowney found Simone for the goal. Now in come the Penguins again on a shot off the pads of Stolars. Was cranked up by Oscar Sundqvist and kicked away. Under 3 minutes to go in the second. 3-0 Penguins from behind the goal, centered out in front, and Stolars poked it away on the Sundqvist give before it ever made it through to Dominic Guer. And the Phantoms will lift one up in the air and a hopper all the way back into the Wilkes-Barre Scranton end, but the Penguins' first one's there, and Uer got it around All got a piece of it again. Boy, second, third effort there for Mark Alt to hold the line with a +16 rating after he went +3 in the game on Wednesday. Second in the league, trailing Justin Hall of Toronto's +17. Hall benefited from Toronto's 9-0 win last Sunday over Manitoba, and so cranked up the pluses. Wilkes-Barre grabbed the loose puck, cleared it away. Moran steps up, collides with Sundqvist, connects with Martel. That's a real mutton Jeff act there with Moran up to Martel. The big 6'7" Moran, the 5'8" or so Martel. Back to the Phantom side, Mark Alt scoops it up. Fans trying to get this Phantoms team right back into it, see if they can get one of them here. Trying for another big-time epic comeback. They were down 2-0 with 9 minutes to go Wednesday and won the game, but now here come the Penguins again. Centering Kuhnhackl, diving poke check away. Stolars before Brian Rust could take a crack. Tim Erickson shoots blocked down. Kuhnhackl trying to center, swatted away. Drewiski. Another shot from the right point. Will O'Neill is high and wide. That was a 3-on-2 developing previously, and D was up there with Kuhnhackl and Rust. And they just never got off a shot, really. Played with it a little too long, I guess. Phantoms gun it all the way down ice. Matt Murray handles it behind the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins goal. Now with 1:18 to go in the second period. Boy, the Phantoms played the better second period here, which is weird to hear, I know. Here's Gumas walking in. And then he got tangled up with D, and the puck rolls around to the other side. Gumas and Joe Raycamp over there battle for it, but the Penguins are able to work it along the boards from behind their own goal and lift one all the way down ice by Will O'Neill. It's wide of Anthony Stolars. That's an icing on the Penguins. And the face-off to develop all the way back to the Wilkes-Barre Scranton side. Now with 57 seconds to go, second period, Wilkes-Barre Scranton with a 3-0 lead. And Dominic Simon is having one heck of a season with 11 goals and 23 points. Among the top scorers of all AHL rookies, and of his 11 goals, 4 of them have come against the Phantoms in just 2 different games. He had a couple on October 17th against Lehigh Valley when the Penguins won 6-4. The Phantoms led 3-0 in that game, by the way. And we had a couple of weird preseason games with the Penguins in which 3-0 leads were unable to be held. And then that happened again on the Wilkes-Barre Scranton home opener. Phantoms led 3-0 and they couldn't hold it. Penguins won 6-4. So here with Wilkes-Barre Scranton leading 3-0, the Phantoms are hoping that history can repeat itself and that a 3-goal lead is again vulnerable. Timeout is called by Wilkes-Barre Scranton after they took that icing. They had some guys out there a little too long and a little winded. No defensive substitutions are allowed after the icing, so a lot of teams implement their timeouts. Their one timeout for when they have an icing situation where the guys are out of breath. You're still not allowed to substitute, but the timeout just allows the guys to stop gasping for oxygen quite so badly. Get some water, catch your breath for all of 30 seconds. And you're feeling a little bit better. You're not all the way back, but you're at least better than you were 30 seconds prior. And so Penguins head coach Mike Sullivan wants to make sure his Penguins hang on to this 3-goal lead in the final minute of the second period. Key draw here, I guess. Nick Cousins against John Sebastian D. And popped up in the air back to Mark Alt, who kept it in and then swatted out of there by Rust. And he and Kuhnhackl on the move. Lead pass. And oh, it's broken up by Mark Alt. It would have been a breakaway for Brian Rust and a diving stab by the third-year pro defenseman Mark Alt. Nice play there. Scott Gordon loving the play of Mark Alt this season. From back in the Phantoms end with 36 seconds to go. Second period dug away by the Phantoms. Helping out was Cole Bardreau to Mark Alt. Just muscles his way up along the bench boards right in front of the Penguins bench. And now sends Cousins free up the right wing, turning the corner on Pouliot. And then Pouliot caught up to him and kind of shoved him in behind the goal. So Cousins never did turn the corner. Colin McDonald's pass hopped over the stick of Robert Haig and dribbles all the way back to the Phantom zone as Haig just wasn't able to hold the line. Now good work over there. Samuel Moran is punishing Scott Wilson along the boards there. One hit after another as they battle for it along the wall. Pops free to Cousins, 2 seconds left. Colin McDonald, long slap shot, is actually blocked close range by Derek Pouliot as McDonald with a big slapper rip from way back at the Phantoms blue line of all things. Phantoms played the better second period, and I know that sounds awfully weird here with the Phantoms now trailing by a 3-0 score. Shots in the second were 12-7 Phantoms. They hit a post. Matt Murray made a couple big scrambly saves. Should have been granted a 6th power play. I have to think should have had that one. You know, I'm looking down in the in the seats right now. Just, second thought here. There's a guy wearing a Tim Brent jersey back from Brent's days with the Penguins. The Tim Brent Support Club is here. Christy Fulkerson has a player downstairs. We're going to go to her shortly.
Taylor, 3 power plays for you guys there in that period. You help and draw some of those penalties. Where's the frustration level with this team, though, not being able to cash in on one of those?
Yeah, it's easy to get frustrated kind of with what happened to us tonight, but at the same time, we got to stay focused. I think we've outplayed them. I think we've deserved the power plays that we got from working, and we hit 2 or 3 posts, and we were all over them that period, and I think it's going to go in tonight, and hopefully we can come back like Wednesday night.
Yeah, both you and Tim Brent bringing one off the iron there in that period. What do you do to kind of build on the second? Because although you weren't able to cash in on a goal, you did generate a lot of offense.
Well, we feel good about how we're playing. It's too bad we haven't got the bounces, but that's hockey, and it happens every now and then, and we got to work through it and show character and show composure, and get on the board here.
Thanks, Taylor. Good luck in the third.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, that's Taylor Lear with Christy Fulkerson, still catching his breath as he's coming off the ice there. I happen to be catching one of the Philadelphia radio broadcasts a couple weeks back when Taylor Lear was up there, and he was chatting with Jason Martinez, who hosts the intermission show on the Flyers broadcast. And Taylor Lear was way out of breath. He could barely speak. Jason Martinez caught him right on the other side of a long shift, I think. I have a feeling, but here Taylor Lear was doing okay. And he's absolutely right. The Phantoms played the better period there. Hockey's a funny game sometimes, and the Phantoms did hit 2 posts. And by the way, as he mentions that he himself hit the post, but Tim Brent did also on the outside of the iron. But there was also the play there where Brent got blasted by Tim Erickson on a cross check that wasn't called, that the Phantoms wanted called, that turned into a goal back on the other side. We have not seen Tim Brent return to the ice after he left, holding his hand after he got crushed there by Tim Erickson. So we think it might be a hand or an arm injury or something of that sort. And I couldn't tell if Tim Brent went down the locker room tunnel or not, but he definitely didn't take a shift after that. So we're going to be keeping a watchful eye out for him in the third period. He just missed a game with a different injury. Well, we don't even know what that injury was. It might be the same injury for all we know, but I'm going to assume a different injury that he started to feel nagging a bit on Saturday in Hershey. This one isn't a nagging thing. This one was a violent collision on a cross-checking by Tim Erickson that wasn't called, that has sent Tim Brent out of the game. Here at the end of 2, the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton Penguins with a 3-0 lead over the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, who aren't playing that badly, especially in the second period, but find themselves down by a 3 spot here. Bob Rotruk with you from the Lehigh Valley Health Network broadcast booth. Coming up, it's the Service Electric Intermission Report on Fox 1470. This is Lehigh Valley Phantoms hockey.
K-Heaps, the Lehigh Valley's own butcher and food distributor. Enjoy our in-house aged beef, pork, lamb, veal, poultry, and seafood. Heaps has been providing the finest custom meat and seafood products to restaurants and chefs since 1948 and are now a proud partner of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Heaps, nobody beats our meat.
Are you looking for an easy-to-use, dependable phone system that provides the features you need and the reliability you expect? Ironton Telephone Company has 105 years of experience in the telecommunications business. They'll customize your phone system to fit your needs. Voicemail to email, auto attendant, call record, mobile apps, and much more. All from the most experienced and friendly telecommunications company in the Lehigh Valley. Call Ironton Telephone at 610-799-0025 or visit Ironton.com.
Hi, this is Shane Gossesbear, number 14 with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Catch the games all season long with Bob Rotruk on Fox 1470.
With the holiday season in full swing, children often find it difficult waiting for the moment that can open their presents. Similarly, hockey fans were forced to wait for the goodies to be delivered in this week's edition of AHL Radio Plays of the Week. Our first stop is out west, as Ontario was looking to regain the top spot in the Western Conference as it called on Charlotte Sunday with Joey Zafshevsky behind the mic.
That one blocked in front of Tiernan. Tiernan wandering, glove save, rebound, scores! Johnny Brodzinski! Tiernan made the initial stop, but he gets it back and puts it up over top. Brodzinski, who has hit the post a dozen times. finally gets his first pro marker.
A dozen pipes and a bevy of A-plus scoring chances in the season's first 17 games left Brodzinski a bit snake-bitten, but he breaks through to lift the Reign to a 5-1 win and a weekend sweep over the Checkers. After a 2-8-1 start, Grand Rapids fans were waiting for the real Griffins to show up. They're waiting no more as Eric Tangrady's hat trick paced Grand Rapids to a 4-1 home win Saturday over Lake Erie.
Here's Kukin winding up with speed through center. Quick shot right on, the save and the rebound, a big one in front, knocked away, and here comes Tangrady out of the penalty box of the breakaway. Tangrady score!
That's Bob Kaiser with the call as the Griffins take their 8th straight overall and 7th in a row at home. St. John's followers are waiting for their team to come home as the Ice Caps wrapped up a 6-game roadie in upstate New York. Friday they called on Utica in a game decided on the final shot as Bud Holloway pulls the trigger and Brian Rogers calls the action.
Here's Bud Holloway with a look at he scores! Bud Holloway with an overtime winner, and the St. John's Ice Caps win it by a score of 2-1.
The win extended St. John's regulation unbeaten streak to 10 games, but they were thwarted the next night in Binghamton 4-1 to end the streak and the road trip. Saturday in Bridgeport, the Portland offense was waiting around for just the right moment to strike. How about tying it up with 1 minute left in the game and netting the game winner 10 seconds later? Wait, what? Pulling this one out of the fire with an on-fire call, it's Jeff Mannix.
Wilson into the middle with the puck. Coming in is McFarland, and he scores! John McFarland, 2 goals in 10 seconds. Portland has gone from behind by 1 to ahead by 1. It's 2-1 Portland.
Utica was in Syracuse Saturday, and it was 2-0 crunch through the first 54 minutes. But it's a 60-minute game, and the Comets came streaking back with 4 unanswered in the final 6-13 to overtake their hosts.
Gillespie in across the line to Friesen in the slot. Friesen on goal. Save Gudlewski's rebound. Scores! Alex Friesen, and the Comets lead 3-2.
Brendan Burke behind the mic and Alex Friesen on the snipe for the 4-2 win, Utica's 4th straight on the road. Friday in Hartford, it was the Hershey Bears scoring in the final minute to get to overtime, but in the shootout, Mackenzie Skapski finishes a 33-save effort to nab top star honors in a 4-3 Wolfpack win as we cue up Bob Crawford.
Carrick over to the right side, slows down now, goes back in, and Skapski makes the save with a right pad, and the Wolfpack win it in the shootout. Wow!
With Hershey back home to host Lehigh Valley the next night, the Bears again waited to the final minute to grab this one in regulation, spoiling a spectacular 42-save effort by Phantoms netminder Anthony Stolars as we hand the mic over to Scott Stuccio.
Boyd crisscrossing, carries to the far down, back the block, he scores! 20 seconds! The Cardiac Kids do it again!
The Bears win at 2-1 to run their home win streak to 5 and the regulation unbeaten streak over the Phantoms to 23. Fans in Cedar Park were waiting for the defense to show up in a 5-5 track meet between their Stars and visiting Rockford last Wednesday, as this one was settled in overtime, as we hear from Bob Mills.
Gustafson, high slot, gives it to Rasmussen in the circle, walks in, he scores! Dennis Rasmussen, a power play strike off the right side circle, and the Ice Hogs take a 6-5 victory over Texas.
It was a big week for Rasmussen, who was riding a 6-game point streak at the time of his recall to Chicago when this happened in his NHL debut.
Here's Shaw from the slot, predator zone, shoots, he scores! Shaw let it rip from the high slot, and Dennis Rasmussen in the right place at the right time got a piece of it. It's 1-0 Hawks.
Stockton surrendered 2 one-goal leads to visiting San Diego on Saturday, but Derek Grant made sure it wouldn't happen a third time as we check in with Brandon Kisker on the left coast.
Through the neutral zone, a backhander. It's in for Derek Grant. He cut it. He scores! It came off of the defender who gloved it right to Grant, and he goes upstairs on Farragher on the power play.
Grant would add a shorthanded empty netter to secure the 4-2 win and his third 2-goal game of the season. And finally, nobody in black and gold was waiting around to see when Wilkes-Barre Scranton might drop a home game after starting off 10-0 at Mohegan Sun Arena. But Lehigh Valley rolled in Friday to deliver that first blemish, with Mark Alt delivering the eventual game winner midway through the contest.
Brent shoveled it across on a shot and a goal. Mark Alt counters it in for his first goal of the year to give the Lehigh Valley Phantoms the lead at 2-1.
That's Bob Rotruck with the call as the Phantoms drop the Pens 3-1. Fans, don't forget to stay up to date with all of the league happenings by visiting AHL.com and catch every game every night at AHLlive.com. For AHL Radio Plays of the Week in Binghamton, New York, I'm Grady Wittenberg.
Are you looking for the perfect holiday gift for the sports fan in your life? Get them a Phantoms holiday pack, including 2 tickets to a Phantoms game, 2 tickets to a lacrosse game, an autographed stick, and a Phantoms beer stein. With a variety of great games to choose from, Phantoms holiday packs are the perfect gift for this holiday season. Call a Phantoms ticket representative at 610-224-GOAL, 610-224-4625.
Ready to live life on the go? Introducing the new Go Guide app, powered by The Morning Call. Now it's easy to discover local entertainment, hot shows, cool bars, happy hour deals, restaurants, and more. Maybe even win some prizes. You can bookmark your favorite events, invite your friends, make plans, and purchase tickets right from the app. Doesn't get any easier than that. Download the free app today at themorningcall.com/Go Guide app and start living life on the go.
Blackman's Cycle Center in Emmaus, PA has been your power sports headquarters for 59 years. Hundreds of motorcycles, ATVs, side-by-sides, dirt bikes, scooters, and now personal watercraft. Honda, Yamaha, Can-Am, Suzuki, Ski-Doo, Eric Buell Racing, and more. Plus, Blackman's Cycle Center has the largest selection of pre-owned power sports in the area. And don't forget about the hottest parts, accessories, and apparel. Ask about Blackman's best service program, and remember, Blackman's Cycle Center is where you can learn to ride for free. Ask about their price match guarantee. Blackman's Cycle Center, 4911 Buckeye Road in Emmaus, PA. Online at blackmanscycle.com.
See all you want to see. Turn on Service Electric Cable TV. We were the first to lead the way. The pioneering spirit is still with us today. Channel after channel, we bring you more. More of what you want to see is on Service Electric Cable TV.
At Selective, insurance is our business. For us, it goes beyond who we are. It's in our DNA.
2 days of rain led to a flood in our house. Tim was quick to respond and led us through the claims process. He even showed us how to prevent future losses. Tim and Selective's personal level of service provided comfort when we needed it the most.
We create diamond moments like this for our customers every day. Want to experience your own? Visit Selective.com to find an agent near you.
Hi, this is Tyrell Goulburn, number 12 of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Catch all the games all season long with Bob Rotruck on Fox 1470.
Phantoms hit a couple of posts in the second period, generally outplayed Wilkes-Barre Scranton in the second period, and they gave up a goal late after Tim Erickson blasted Tim Brent, and a cross-checking not called, and on the ensuing rush for the Penguins the other way, ended up scoring a goal to make it 3-0. Scott Gordon, I think, was likely incensed, wanted to talk with the officiating about it, and they would not provide him that courtesy to come over to the bench. Tim Brent left the game, and at first I said hand or wrist. I mean, he's holding his arm, but he wasn't moving that arm at all as he was holding it coming off. So based on that, it could almost be a shoulder too. I mean, when a guy gets his shoulder hurt, it's not like he's holding his shoulder as he's coming off of the ice. This is total speculation. Talking with a couple other guys up in the press box, and they said they thought it might have been a shoulder, but from up here, we're just guessing based on the players' actions. But Tim Brent left the game, went down to the tunnel with some sort of an upper body injury on hand, wrist, or shoulder. Who knows, but it's not good, and Tim Brent has not returned, and I have a feeling he probably will not. And so the Penguins lead 3-0 at the end of 2 on a pair of goals by Dominic Simone. By the way, I was inaccurate in my reporting earlier. I said that Simone had a couple of goals earlier this year against the Phantoms. That was not correct. He had 4 assists in a couple different games against the Phantoms. So now he has 2 goals, and in his 3 games against Lehigh Valley, he has a total of 6 points on 2 goals and 4 assists. So of his 23 points this season, with 11 goals and 12 assists among the rookie leaders in the AHL, of his 23 points, 6 of them, 2 goals tonight and 4 assists in the previous 2 games, have all come against Lehigh Valley. Coca-Cola out-of-town scoreboard. Philly Valley at Dallas underway. No score. The top team in the league, the Dallas Stars. Michael Neuvert against Antiniemi there. Also, the Chicago Blackhawks hosting the Winnipeg Jets. Jonathan Toews has scored his 9th. Connor Hellebuck in net for Winnipeg, called up from Manitoba. He was very good with St. John's when Winnipeg's affiliation was there last year. Corey Crawford for Chicago. Red Wings scored twice in the second period, take a 2-0 lead at the Rock in Newark, New Jersey. Gustav Nyquist is 11th. Tomas Tatar is 11th. Jimmy Howard against Corey Schneider there. LA Kings at the Pittsburgh Penguins 1-1 late second period. Tanner Pearson for LA is 4th. Eric Fehr for the Penguins is 3rd. Jonathan Quick against Marc-Andre Fleury. And then later on, the Rangers at Edmonton, as well as Minnesota versus Arizona. Carolina is at Anaheim. In the ECHL, the Reading Royals are on the road at the Florida Everblades in Fort Myers, Florida, or more accurately, Estero, Florida. And Reading trying to get back on the winning track. They only have 2 wins in their last 10, but on the road at first place Florida, trailing 2-0 midway through the second period. American Hockey League, Albany looking for a franchise record 7-game win streak, and they lead the Syracuse Crunch 2-1 on a pair of goals by the former Senators prospect Jim O'Brien. Jeff Tambellini has scored for the Crunch, who have lost 3 in a row and trailed 2-1 at Times Union Center in Albany. Portland Pirates lead the Bridgeport Sound Tigers 1-0. Rocco Grimaldi for the Panthers affiliation, the only goal in that game. Portland tied for 4th place in the division with Lehigh Valley, so if the Phantoms lose and Portland wins, then Portland takes over sole possession of 4th. The Phantoms fall to at least 5th and perhaps a little bit lower depending on the other games. Former Phantom Kyle Flanagan of a couple years ago has signed a tryout contract with Binghamton, and he has scored for the Senators. Binghamton 2, Springfield 2 in Western Massachusetts at the end of 2. Andrew Hammond, starting that game for Binghamton, was sent down from Ottawa on a conditioning assignment, recovering from his injury. The Toronto Marlies have gone 16-2-1 in their last 19. Overall, they are 18-5-1. They are the highest scoring team in the league, and they've scored 9 goals in a game twice this year. But they're running into a tough defensive stalwart in the Utica Comets. It's 0-0 Toronto at Utica at the end of 2. Hartford at Providence. The P Bruins lead 2-1 at the end of 2. Providence has won 4 straight to climb out of the Atlantic Division cellar. Chris Casto and Colby Cave have scored the goals for Providence. That's your Coca-Cola out-of-town scoreboard. Here, the Phantoms facing an even taller mountain than they had on Wednesday. They came back from a 2-0 deficit Wednesday. Tonight, they're down 3-0 as we get ready for the third, and it's coming up right after this on Fox 1470. This is Phantoms Hockey.
Lifelong. Life is a series of stages, and National Pen wants to be your financial partner every step of the way. We're there for you when you make life-changing decisions like buying a new house, planning for retirement, even adding a new family member. Lifelong. It's our commitment to you and your family because that's the nature of our relationships. Whatever the future holds, you can count on National Pen to be there by your side. Banking, insurance, investments, trust. NationalPen.com. Member FDIC.
Around my house, I'm called difficult. I know what I want, and I always want more. Take my insurance, for instance. I want more coverages, but there's no chance I'm paying more for it. My agent knows this, and that's why she recommended the Selective Edge. With the Selective Edge, I get higher coverage limits and even coverages I didn't know I need. And my agent knows what discounts I deserve. More coverage, more options, less money. That's not too difficult, is it? Find an agent near you by visiting Selective.com. Selective. Response is everything.
Hi fans, this is number 4, Robert Haig. Listen to all the Phantoms games on Fox 1470 with Bob Roadtruck.
3-0 Penguins, but the second period was largely dominated by Lehigh Valley, who outshot the Penguins 12-6, forced Wilkes-Barre to take a number of penalties, one of which wasn't even called when Tim Erickson cross-checked Tim Brent. That led to a goal on the ensuing rush back the other way for the Penguins, and for the record, that goal was Dominic Simon at his 11th of the year at 16:32 of the second from Will O'Neill and Carter Rowney with a cross-ice pass. Well, Goulburn is out there with Kevin Gumas and Cole Bardreau, so kind of mixing and matching the lines here to begin the third period, and the Phantoms appear to be without Tim Brent, who was injured on that hit by Tim Erickson, that uncalled hit where Scott Gordon and the rest of the Phantoms clearly wanted a penalty, an infraction called. So Gumas will take the draw, paired with Goulburn and Bardreau on the wing, backed by Samuel Moran and Mark Alt. It is 3-0 Wilkes-Barre. Dominic Simon and Scott Wilson in the first period. Simon again in the second period. Shots 18-14 Phantoms in the game. Lehigh Valley is 0 for 5 on the power play. They hit 2 posts, and they don't count for goals when you hit the post. And the faceoff is dropped, and there's Goulburn, and out to the bench comes Tyrell Goulburn, and he had his glove smacked and slashed off his hand, I think. And he's got a hold in that left hand after he left the mitt out there. And now he's being looked at. Oh, goodness. Is Goulburn going to go back down the tunnel? Here come the Penguins walking in off the post off the back of Stolars, and no goal! On a crazy pinballing puck, it was shot off the iron past Stolars and bounced right off of his back on a Phantoms turnover. That hit off the right post on the back of Stolars on a drive by Connor Sheary. And it looked like it was on its way to going in, and Stolars diving backwards somehow kept it out. And then the cage dislodged off the pegs as well. And the referee right there watching it all the way, signaling no goal. But on a sloppy turnover in the Lehigh Valley end in the opening seconds of the third period, it was almost 4-0 right off the bat. Goulburn is hanging around on the bench, so appears to be okay after he had his glove whacked off his hand there, I guess. And they're just checking it out, and maybe he's getting taped up there on the bench, but he seems fine. He's going to the water bottle now. Face-off back in the Lehigh Valley end. It is 3-0 Penguins, and the puck is dropped, and we'll do it again. Penguins are 1 for 3 on the power play, and another one of their goals came right at the conclusion of a power play at the very beginning of the first period. That power play goal that they scored later in the first ended an 0 for 24 drought that they had on the power play. Phantoms win the draw on their end. Here comes Aaron Palushai up the left wing, dropping Robert Haig with a big one-timer. Stepped right into that one, and a nice dish by Palush. And that one seen all the way right into the trapper by Matt Murray for his 19th save of the game. A 3-0 lead for the Penguins, and they won by this score more than once against the Phantoms last year. Of Matt Murray's 12 shutouts last season, second most ever in a single season in the AHL, only to Jason LaBarbera. Of his 12 shutouts, 3 of those blankings came against the Phantoms. They were all by 3-0 scores, kind of oddly enough. Faceoff dribbles back to the neutral zone. Robert Haig is there. And right after he had that big slap shot on Murray, drives it in, and then Wilkes-Barre Scranton way high off the glass and all the way back to the Lehigh Valley Phantom side as it was cleared by the former Hershey captain Alexei. Now Palushai gallops up the left wing, and Alexei gets a high elbow in on Palushai. Looks like Alexei is asking and for another penalty, and now he creams Palushai, knocks him down back the other way. Umer trying to sneak in past Haig, not quite a breakaway, shot it wide from the left wing. Long rebound off the end board, Sundquist, pad save Stolars, and then shoved into the corner where Peter Straka retrieves. Alexei has it in for Aaron Palushai, and a couple of hits there, both of which could have been called penalties, and the referees are letting him get away with it, and Alexei playing with fire. And the only way, really, realistically, the Penguins could let the Phantoms get back into this game is if they took more dumb penalties against Lehigh Valley and gave them more cracks at it on the power play. Wilkes-Barre from their end, the rookie defenseman Anderson to McNeil, and then batted around the boards back to the Lehigh Valley side. There's Davis Drewiski slamming it back in behind the Lehigh Valley goal. Martell is now centering that line with Lear and Colin McDonald in the absence of Tim Brent, who left at the end of the second period with his injury. Now a turnover and a shot off of Murray. Juggled around. They give him the benefit of the early whistle on Lear's drive, and now the punches are flying down behind the goal with Will O'Neill about ready to mix it up with Danik Martell. And the feisty Danik Martell, all 5'8" of them, looked like he wanted to party. The officials interceded and broke him up before they could go any further with it there. 2:03 into the third. Phantoms keep on coming, and Matt Murray, who has 3 shutouts this year, 15 for his career. The all-time record for shutouts in a season was Jason LaBarbera with the Hartford Wolfpack in 2003-04. He had 13 shutouts, winning AHL Goalie of the Year for the first of his 2 times winning that honor. That was in the Rangers system then. Hartford's still the Rangers affiliate now. Matt Murray challenged for that record with 12 shutouts, never got the 13th, so the record still belongs to LaBarbera, who is on the bench as the Phantoms' backup goalie again today. For the second game in a row, he's on the bench. He'd been out with injury. And Martin Ouellette is still with the team as a third goalie. Well, Reading has 2 goalies of their own, and they're down in Florida anyway. So now the Phantoms have 3 goalies here. Penguins steal into the Phantom zone. Lehigh Valley couldn't get it out. Alexei over to Rustin, and down low from Pouliot, trying to feed the middle, and whacked out of there by Mark Galt, still playing a steady game here. And then he was able to strip a man. Rust on the puck in the corner. Chip it up ice, and now here comes Colin McDonald. Has Lear in the middle. 2-on-1. All the way to the corner to Taylor Lear, and he couldn't make any contact on it at all. right on top of Matt Murray. And he lifts his head up in the air, looks at the ceiling in disgust and can't believe that he missed on that. What was a very nice pass, carrying it in way deep by Colin McDonald. Now here's Connor Sheary. Sharp angle from the right circle. Shot it on to Stolars. Juggled briefly, and another feisty guy, Cale Mullerat, was in there, ready to poke or dig, and Robert Haig shoves him out of the way. And they all break apart with 16:54 remaining for the third period. Phantoms are getting their chances here, and that last one, Lear hit the post in the second. That last one from the corner, Colin McDonald carried it wide beyond the diving, sliding defenseman on the 2-on-1 and finally got an angle. And Taylor Lear was right on the doorstep, right on top of Matt Murray, and it looked to me to be a perfect centering pass from Colin McDonald. And Lear barely nudged it, and he did not send it onto the net. Now, if he does chip it on net, it might have gone on to Murray anyway, but at least you get a chance if you send it towards the net. If you miss it completely, then you don't have a chance at all. Phantoms win the draw on their end and sail it out of there. Goulburn is up there with Bardreau and Gumas. And then fired all the way down to the Lehigh Valley side, and Mark Ault just beat him for the race and the icing. And now he and Mullerat. Ault got a stick on Wilson, rather. Scott Wilson, 23. They were right on top of each other on that race to the dots in a hybrid icing, and it was a scenario like that, which is why they made it the hybrid icing. If they had to go for the full touch-up on the puck, that could have been a big collision on the end boards between those two. Scott Wilson was less than a half a step behind Mark Ault on that one and didn't like the stick impeding him. So Mark Ault threw his stick back at Wilson and said, "Get off of me." Wilson, their team leader in goals, still with 12, but Simone is creeping up on him with 2 tonight with 11. Icing on the Penguins again right off that faceoff. They don't have their timeout anymore. But with back-to-back icings, that gives them plenty of time to catch their breath for the most part. Back at home tomorrow for Game 3 of the 5-game homestand. It's our big-time teddy bear toss to benefit Valley Youth House. And you get to bring your new or gently used teddy bear or stuffed animal donations and throw them onto the ice after the Phantoms score their first goal. Shot off the post again. Robert Haig raised his hand up in the air after he wristed it on from outside the right circle. And he thought he had put it in. He had not, and it was off the inside of the metal, and it wasn't even the hardest shot in the world. And the third time the Phantoms have struck iron today. Wilkes-Barre ices the puck again, bringing that to the Penguins side again. And I know it sounds goofy, but for the majority of this game, the Phantoms have been the better team. They're down 3-0, and they've been the better team for more than half of this game. Not for the whole game. There were stretches in the first period where the Phantoms were in trouble. Shot from the point, tipped in Rude, and on to Murray, and the save there. That time was a Mark Ault drive, and a couple different guys in there might have had a piece of it on its way in. Penguins clear the zone, finally get that line change after 3 straight icings. Now Mark Ault fires it in around, and they call that one an icing, and Nick Cousins thought he might have beaten it, and now a Penguins player comes up to him. That's Nick Anderson, and got a shove on Nick Cousins, who was racing hard for the puck on the hybrid icing, and Tom Kostopoulos will provide some authority to the situation there, getting up to Nick Cousins and saying, "Back off, it's over with now, cool down." And now on the Lehigh Valley icing, which was a debatable call, Cousins very nearly won that race to the dots. This face-off comes back to the Phantoms' end. Teddy Bear Toss tomorrow is presented by Dan's Camera City to benefit Valley Youth House. So bring those teddy bears, those new and gently used stuffed animals, to throw onto the ice tomorrow night. After the Phantoms score their first goal of the game, it'll be raining teddy bears. If we had our Teddy Bear Toss here tonight, we'd still be waiting for the Bears. The Phantoms still don't have a goal. They've hit the post 3 times. Do not throw the Bears on a post shot. It has to go into the goal. First goal. Phantoms chip one up ice and try to clear it out of there. Dominic Guerre knocked it down, and there's more hitting, and Samuel Moran right there in the back of Oscar Sundquist slams him down to the ice. And now Dominic Guerre wants to party with Donick Martel. Palushai had a piece of Will O'Neill. Getting a little out of hand here, and you know the officials only have themselves to blame in a way. Now these are heated rivals, and this is game 3 out of 12 in this rivalry. And game 4 comes up in a rematch right here on Wednesday night back at our place again, by the way, on Military Appreciation Night. And we see them over and over again for the rest of the season. The top team in the league at 17-5. But they have let a lot go, even though they called the 5 different penalties for the 5 separate Lehigh Valley power plays. But they've let a lot go, including that Tim Erickson cross-checking on Tim Brent and absolutely crushed him and no call. And Scott Gordon was, I think, beside himself at that, and the officials never even gave him the courtesy to talk with him about it. They said, we didn't call it. What is there to talk about? Danny Martell wins the draw after they have restored some semblance of order here, at least for now. And back to Matt Lashoff, gunned around the wall, deep into the zone, and then a hopper kind of popped out into the slot, but scooped up there by Derek Pouliot all alone. And goes to the left wing and gun angled over to the other corner where Wilkes-Barre is in after it. Simone along with Rowney. And then rolled around. Colin McDonald nicely chips it right back between his legs behind him through Martell. Colin McDonald is the best player out there for the Phantoms today. Taylor Lear walking in. Upended by Alexi. Penalty coming up. Robert Haig will hold him up against the glass, but doesn't want to take a retribution penalty here. And Alexi does not throw a punch at Robert Haig. Haig just goes and grabs him. After Alexi kneed Taylor Lear practically, I think they'll just call it a tripping. Lear and Robert Haig, little fist tap action there. Lear says, way to have my back, big guy. And Alexi to the box, and the Phantoms will have their 6th power play of the game. That was a knee on knee, it really was. I think it just missed being knee on knee, and it was closer to shin on shin almost, but very high on the shin as Lear went flying, and Alexi just stuck that leg out there. And so on the tripping minor, the Phantoms are awarded their 6th PPL power play of the game. They've hit the iron 3 times in this game. Robert Haig was the last to do it. Lear and Lashoff in the last period, maybe Brent as well. So they might have hit 4 posts. Honestly, it's just bananas. Face-off win for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Need to stop hitting iron, need to put it in past Murray. Now Lashoff for Straka, and he shot it wide, and he almost hit the far post there. That would have been crazy. Nick Cousins on the left wing half wall. 2 guys guarding on him. Lear tosses it over. Straka shooting off the shoulder of Murray, who never saw it because Colin McDonald was right in his face. Colin McDonald is opening opportunities for the Phantoms by taking the goalie's eyes. Dug away behind the goal, comes around to Straka now. Lashoff's shot goes off the stick there of Dominic Guer. And upstairs and out of play with 14:23 remaining in the 3rd period and 1:26 to go. Here on the PPL Power Play, Energy for Life. Phantoms getting powered up again, or at least trying to. But 0 for 5 tonight, 0 for 10 on this homestand, and 3 for 48 in their last 12 games. And that coincides with the departure of Shane Gostisbehere to the NHL. 3 for 48, so you're roughly 6%, 6.2 or so. Squirts off a couple of sticks a mile high in the air, lands back in the Lehigh Valley zone where Carter Rowney chased Nick Cousins back there. Now carried back, swooping and circling back behind Stolarz as Matt Lashoff. A healthy scratch for a few games, now given a huge rule after Jesper Pettersson went down with injury. And Andrew McDonald called up to Philadelphia. And now tipped upstairs over the glass, out of play. Is that a penalty? And I think they are saying that it was touched by a Phantoms player as it cleared the glass from the defensive zone. And it did. They'll set up a neutral zone faceoff. If that went out undeflected, that would have been a delay of game penalty against Wilkes-Barre and would have been a minute of 5-on-3 for the Phantoms to try to climb back into this. As it stands, it's just 58 seconds left of 5-on-4 with under 14 minutes to go in the 3rd, and the Phantoms down 3-0. Yesterday they were down 2-0 with 9 minutes left. They can make it a 2-goal game right now and have more time than that than they did yesterday. Phantoms walking in, and here on the left circle, dangling around a little bit is Aaron Palusha. Backhand shoves it around. Martell couldn't quite get there. Robert Haig hustles over to the point, kept it in barely. And then in the ensuing scramble, the Penguins able to retrieve the loose puck, and Brian Rust with possession slammed at length of the ice, gets the clear. Wholesale change on the go for Mike Sullivan's Wilkes-Barre Scranton Baby Pens. 21 seconds to go on the PPL power play. Haig, a long stretch pass. Goulburn standing on the blue line of the Penguins bench. Tip taps it in. Battle for on the other side. Penguins come away with it. Wilkes-Barre Scranton shorthanded, and they're not going to try for a rush. Played a little more conservatively there. O'Neill dumps it in deep. Sundqvist and Uer back off. And out of the box comes Alexi. His 3rd penalty having been served. The sixth power play for the Phantoms comes to a close, and now Gumas getting a couple of chops in on Uer, galloping in across the line, barging his way into the Phantom zone up the right wing, sends it in deep, and good work back behind the goal by Moran to win it away with help from Haig. Now at the right wing, Cole Bardreau back in from his lower body injury and back in action for the first time in 5 weeks. Now it's lodged up and jammed in along the end wall, and Bardreau got help there from Palushai to win it away. Palushai got shoved in the back by Scott Wilson. This is a feisty brand of hockey the Penguins play under their new head coach Mike Sullivan, formerly the Bruins, where he had been coaching compadres with Eric Scott Gordon. There's kind of a lot of cheap shot stuff going on in there. Every chance they get. Now here's Cole Bardreau shoving the back of a man on the forecheck. Pins it in against the end boards, trying to help Gumas win it away. 2-on-2 tangle up. They dig and jam, tangle away. Connor Sheary races away with it. It's squirted free to his stick, and up to the right wing now is Cale Mulrat. Dashes across the blue line to his left, and now down low, Sheary on top of Stolars in a poke check, and Anthony Stolars dives out there and knocked it off the stick there of Connor Sheary, who was all alone on Stollar, the goalie. On a little bit of a scramble by the Phantoms defensively, Nicholas Anderson connected with Sheary down low. Phantoms back in, down to 11.5 to go in the third. Penguins 3, Phantoms nothing the score. Battle for in the right wing corner. There's Taylor Lear, strong on the puck, holds it away from the defending Jean-Sebastian D. And then guns it across, and Matt Lashoff kept it in. They get shoved in behind the blue line by Brian Rust, but had released the puck around the wall. Derek Pouliot will sail it all the way down ice, and they give Brian Rust the benefit of the doubt. He wins that race for the icing, so Matt Lashoff has to hurry, recover, one hand on the stick, chips it around the wall to Lear, couldn't get it out. Now Lear goes back behind the goal again for Lashoff. Rust steals, D out in front, up high it goes. Tim Erickson on the left point, shoots it in down low, right onto the tape of Taylor Lear, and a nice, easy-looking intercept for Lear, and it couldn't have been that easy. It was a hard shot. Across the red line come the Phantoms, dump it in deep and get a line change. Quickly moving clock, 10:35 to go in the third. Here's Carter Rowney, rushes right around Palushai, centering on the short side for Simone. Couldn't get a stick on it. Simone with 2 goals, looking for a third. Now intercepted at center, bad pass Straka. Rowney gives to Simone there on the left circle, and broken up. Straka made up for his own turnover and helped get it back. Robert Haig heard the footsteps of Carter Rowney coming in his end. Got rid of it to the other side. Nick Cousins. Simone comes all the way on him. Penguins on the hunt, going after her. They smell blood, and the Phantoms are able to stay with it, break the pressure, and then Straka turned it over to Simone. One Czech Republic native steals it from another Czech. And Straka wheeling around, trying to find a man. I think he was a little gassed and a little spun around, a little dizzy from all that circling. And the Penguins able to dump it back in now with under 10 minutes to go in the third. Penguins 3, Phantoms nothing is our score tonight on a Friday night at PPL Center. Big hit over there. Sundqvist got leveled on a hard hit by Mark Alt. And Alt is laying out some checks and feistiness today. He is not a happy camper. Mark Alt steals one on the blue line as the Penguins couldn't clear. Wilkes-Barre Scranton recovers. He and Reed McNeil almost collided. McNeil had a big, high, hard, dirty hit on Michael Parks October 17th. That sent Parks out with an upper body injury, and he still hasn't returned. Almost 2 months later, Parks is getting close, by the way. The rookie from the University of North Dakota was hit by that guy, Reed McNeil. And similar to Tim Erickson's hit on Tim Brent, it was an upper body injury on a bit of a dirty hit that wasn't called. But McNeil's was an absolute blast of Michael Parks. I was very surprised that one wasn't called, but I was also surprised the Erickson one too. Kostopoulos gets a shove in on Cousins. The puck had gone out of play. I don't know where everyone was signaling, hey, too many men or out of play. They were waiting for a whistle, and everyone's standing around looking at the officials, and finally they blew the whistle and blew play down. So no further play. Frozen puck. We step aside with 8:48 to go in the third period. Phantoms out shooting the Penguins 21-15, but our score, Wilkes-Barre 3, Lehigh Valley nothing. On Fox 1470, this is Phantoms Hockey.
Maybe it's hot out today, or maybe it's cold, but this weather's got you thinking about heading to the bar for an ice-cold Coors Light. Maybe it's a bar built into the steep cliff face of the Rocky Mountains with a waterfall that pours down on a multitude of Coors Lights, chilling them with the frigid power of a Rocky Mountain stream. You order one and it suddenly appears in your hand. It's so cold you feel like a giant eagle riding on cool winds, content with your foray into Rocky Mountain country. Forgot about the weather already, didn't you? Thanks, Coors Light. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Great beer, great responsibility.
Ready to live life on the go? Introducing the new Go Guide app, powered by The Morning Call. Now it's easy to discover local entertainment, hot shows, cool bars, happy hour deals, restaurants, and more. Maybe even win some prizes. You can bookmark your favorite events, invite your friends, make plans, and purchase tickets right from the app. Doesn't get any easier than that. Download the free app today at themorningcall.com/Go Guide app and start living life on the go.
Hi fans, this is number 23, Taylor Lear. Listen to all the Phantoms games on Fox 1470 with Bob Rotruck.
I think it is 4 post shots today for the Phantoms. I can't swear to it, but Taylor Lear and Robert Haig definitely. Lashoff and Brent maybe. Tim Brent out of the game, was blasted by Tim Erickson late second period.
Ice at 11-12. Wilkes Scranton penalty, bench minor. 2 minutes for too many men on the ice at 11.
Yeah, that's what the Phantoms were signaling before our last break. It's another power play for Lehigh Valley. There's 7. Here we go on a big blast. Nick Cousins right circle. Blocked back to him by Alexi. Now Lashoff over to Straka, left circle, 8:30 to go. Phantoms down 3-0. And now a takedown there after the puck went upstairs into the end netting. And a bit of a collision back there. Colin McDonald is kind of lurking in the shadows as Nick Cousins, who was the one who was taken down, gets back up and appears to be okay. I don't know if that was, I mean, it's not an awkward, it is awkward, but there was some intention behind it as well, especially when it's Steve Alexi, who had 150 penalty minutes last year with the Hershey Bears, 7th-year pro out of Lake Superior State, hugely popular with Hershey in his 3 seasons. Nick Cousins trying to go after Alexi there, and well, came up short. And a face-off win for Wilkes-Barre Scranton, and they wrap it around the wall. Peter Straka gets over there, and now down to the corner, it's Taylor Lear. And Lear and Straka, and it's stolen away by the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. Here they come, and it's Uer, who got bumped a little by Lashoff, trying for a knee-on-knee there, and Lashoff will get called for a penalty. It's tripping on Matt Lashoff. And the Phantoms are about to go to 0 for 6 on the power play, believe it or not, and that ain't good. 0 for 7, I take it back. Phantoms were 0 for 6, and on that, it's hard to keep up. Boy, it's so weirdly reminiscent in its own way to the first game that Wilkes-Barre Scranton appeared at PPL Center last year. That was on October 29th. It was a closer game, but the Phantoms, I thought, played a better game in that one, too. Lost in overtime 2-1. Power play goal for Jean-Sebastien D. Beat Rob Zepp. And the Phantoms went 0 for 10 in that game, including an overtime power play of their own. Then the Penguins converted on theirs. Martell up ice, 4-on-4 from the right circle. Shoots it wide. There's a long stretch pass there after the face-off win by Bardreau. And LaMarche was able to connect with Martell, who had Robert Haig with him. And the Phantoms will take all kinds of chances now, because why the heck not? You're down by 3 with 7:40 to go on the third, and the clock is ticking and time's a-wasting. Here's the veteran Kevin Porter. Bardreau poked it off his stick and leaves it there for Martell. The high slot and shooting. That one blocked away by Tim Erickson. It was Martell on a snipe from almost that same spot, rushing into the zone with 2:59 to go on Wednesday. Tied the game against Hershey at 2-2 and got it to overtime. Lifted high in the air, back to the Phantom side. Still 25 seconds of 4-on-4. Lashoff is serving the too many men penalty, or the tripping penalty. The too many men penalty for Wilkes is served by Kostopoulos. Trubisky shooting off the helmet. Murray, it's loose. Straka getting in there and slammed away by Erickson in the blue in front of an open net. And the Phantoms couldn't come any closer to scoring if they tried. It hit off the helmet of Murray, was spinning in the blue. A free puck was loose and ready to be rifled in by Straka. And Tim Erickson simply got in the inside position on him, beat him to the puck, and swatted it away right before he went crashing into the cage and into the post and knocked it off. On a Palushai shot off the helmet of Murray, and then a Straka rebound try. Doesn't come any closer than that. So a helmet shot, an open crease shot, 4 posts, and still the Phantoms can't buy a break or get a goal. 3-0 Wilkes-Barre, 7 minutes even to go on Fox 1470. This is Phantoms Hockey.
69 News covers the region better than any other news station.
With more reporters covering the stories that matter to you.
With more in-depth coverage of news from your neighborhood.
We're always connected with you during the day on your phone.
And at night, we're here to bring you the breaking stories.
And developments happening now.
I'm Rob Vaughn.
I'm Wendy Davis.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Ed Hanna.
I'm Kathy Crane.
And I'm 69 Sports Director Troy Hine.
Join us weeknights for 69 News.
Your life, your world, your news at 5, 6, and 10 p.m.
Capital Blue Cross champions the fearless in all of us.
Fearless is painting the nursery before knowing if it's a boy or a girl. It's letting her take the first step all by herself, even when you know she might fall. It isn't helping her with everything, but giving her the confidence to do everything.
Fearless is knowing Capital Blue Cross is there, protecting you with the power of a card that opens doors in all 50 states. Capital Blue Cross. Live fearless.
Hi, this is Danick Martel, number 8 team with Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Catch the game all season long with Bob Rolltruck on Fox 1470.
Sometimes you get the break, sometimes you can't buy one to save your lives. The Phantoms will come away from this game saying, you know, we felt we played the better game in so many ways. And when they do say that, they're right. But it's only small consolation. Now getting past Mark Alt was D. Alt trips him up on the stretch pass by Erickson to Jean-Sebastien D. Mark Alt called for tripping. And that is on the tail end of that too many men penalty that is being, or that tripping penalty being served by Lashoff after Kostopoulos came back from the too many men. And now it's Wilkes-Barre's turn on their power plays. Mark Alt got beat a little by D going for the puck, really, and then got the skates of D, who goes down. 5-on-3 for Wilkes-Barre now for 30 seconds with 6:32 to go in the third. And a 3-0 lead for the Penguins on only 15 shots for Wilkes-Barre Scranton in this game. And that means one shot in the third, but the Phantoms have had their power play chances here too. 0 for 7, 0 for 8 now are the Phantoms. 5-on-3, it's the Penguins' turn for some power play time, and Sherry for Pouliot weaving in offsides. Yeah, the Penguins are leading 3-0 with a whopping one shot here in the third after they had all of 6 shots in the second. Now the first period, no mistake, Wilkes-Barre Scranton was on the hunt and they were winning the board battles and deserving, I think, of walking out of there with a 2-0 lead. Second period, the Phantoms largely dominated, and for the most part, the same is holding true here in the third. Doesn't matter. Wilkes-Barre has the goals, 3-0 for the first place Penguins, who are on their way to going 18-5, barring something crazy for a Phantoms comeback in the last 6:05. Will O'Neill 5-on-3 for a couple more seconds. Connor Sheary right circle. Now hustling out of the box, Lashoff. Sheary shoots, pad save, it's loose and swatted away. Down low was Scott Wilson, and he got blasted in from behind by Davis Ruiski and sent it into the corner. Phantoms retrieve and cleared all the way down. So now 5-on-4 and a minute 15 to go on this first generation penalty kill. In front of 7,700 and change on hand on this Friday night at PPL Center. Now a stretch pass for Sheary to the right wing. Kostopoulos, backdoor goal. Scott Wilson got inside the Phantoms D on the rush into the zone. Power play goal for Wilkes-Barre is their second of the game. A team that had gone 0 for 24 on a slump. And Scott Wilson's second is his team leading 13th. And with 5:34 to go, third period, Penguins 4, Phantoms nothing. Oh boy, that was a nice backhand spinorama in the slot by Sheary across to the right circle, and then sending it right on back to Scott Wilson. But Sheary on the secondary assist, that was some fancy dance work there. And he got inside positioning in on Robert Haig. Haig just lost the man behind him a little bit. Yeah, he didn't even know he was there at all. Didn't lose him a little bit. He lost him completely. 2 power play goals for the Penguins. The Phantoms go to 0 for 8 on the power play, and there's your difference tonight, as well as all the post shots. At least 3, and I think 4. Raykamp is out there for Evan Rankin. Raykamp is in, and he shot it wide by a mile. And he was all alone there with a golden opportunity, and he missed it by a ton. Now here comes Wilkes-Barre Scranton with 5:05 to go in the third. From the right corner, dropped all the way to Pouliot, dashes around Rankin to the left dot, around the D, and poke checked away by Stolars. weaving all over the place was Pouliot, now huffing and puffing rather slowly all the way back to his zone as the Phantoms speed forward, but they get called for an offside. And play is blown down now with 4:52 to go in the third period. And we step aside for one more promotional timeout. And Lehigh Valley's valiant efforts to come back here have not gone well. And it's Wilkes-Barre Scranton 4, Lehigh Valley nothing. The Penguins looking to avenge last Friday's result, which was their first home loss of the season. And they are doing so rather convincingly on their way to pinning a loss against the Phantoms on Lehigh Valley's home ice. Hey, a rematch against these guys on Wednesday back at our place, everyone. Make a note of it. On Fox 1470, this is Phantoms Hockey.
K-Heaps, the Lehigh Valley's own butcher and food distributor. Enjoy our in-house aged beef, pork, lamb, veal, poultry, and seafood. Heaps has been providing the finest custom meat and seafood products to restaurants and chefs since 1948 and are now a proud partner of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Heaps, nobody beats our meat.
Are you looking for an easy-to-use, dependable phone system that provides the features you need and the reliability you expect? Ironton Telephone Company has 105 years of experience in the telecommunications business. They'll customize your phone system to fit your needs. Voicemail to email, auto attendant, call record, mobile apps, and much more. All from the most experienced and friendly telecommunications company in the Lehigh Valley. Call Ironton Telephone at 610-799-0025 or visit Ironton.com.
Hi fans, this is Mark Auld of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Listen to the games all season long with Bob Rochuck on Fox 1470.
Well, I got a little turned around on the number of power plays. It is 0 for 7 for the Phantoms, not 0 for 8. Does it really matter at this point? Here's Straka down low. Palushai couldn't get turned for the shot. Tried to give it out in front for Cousins. Nothing there. Carter Rowney on Palushai. Out in front, Moran! And he missed it wide on a little half chip from the left dot. Wide open over there with a half a net to work with almost. And he missed it. Phantoms have missed some open opportunities, and they've connected and hit posts on others. And now a collision in the corner, and everybody gets in there, and there's a takedown. Moran was in that mix. Mark Ault wants to get at somebody. Another guy wrestled down in there. Cousins is flailing around and looking to get up. There's a couple guys way down low on the bottom of that pile. Moran, I think, is one of those, and he's engaged with Alexi. Oh, well, I should have known without even catching the number. To be continued on Wednesday. Well, it's Palushai who's kind of in there. I don't know where Moran. Oh, there's Moran. I see him working. But Palushai and Alexi have gone at each other a few times here. Straka lined up Alexi and slammed him in the back head first into the boards. I think he kept it barely legal. And then getting in there, well, Moran was in there, but Straka was the one who got knocked down all the way. Straka was taken down. He's the one who hit Alexi. And then Palushai was in that mix as well, having gone at it with Alexi back and forth a couple of times, but he was trying to peel guys off of Straka because they kind of piled on top of him, 2 or 3 of them. Peter Straka is being taken to the penalty box, and I suspect they may have called him for that boarding on the hit against Alexi. A frustrated Phantoms team down 4-0 with 4 minutes and 14 seconds to go. This is game 3 out of 12 in this rivalry series. Round 4 comes back at our place on Wednesday. And it could be a doozy. Because I have a news flash for you. These two teams do not seem to care for each other a whole heck of a lot. And the rivalry just got ratcheted up a significant amount in tonight's game alone. I think we cranked it up a fair amount Friday night when the Phantoms pinned the first home loss of the year on the Penguins. But now in a 4-0 game, and we've had it get pretty chippy and physical throughout.
Number 24, Peter Straka, 2 minutes for boarding. Each penalty of 15:46. Wilkes-Barre Scranton penalty, Pouliot 2 minutes for roughing.
Pouliot roughing, Straka for boarding. We play 4-on-4 with under 4 minutes to go, third period. Penguins on 2 goals by Simone and 2 goals by Wilson. A 4-0 lead for the Baby Pens here in downtown Allentown. From behind the Phantoms goal, Ashoff gives to Max LaMarche in his 21st career game for the Phantoms. His second this season. He played 7 last year, 12 the year before that in the Adirondack Phantoms in 2013-14. Max LaMarche, the captain of the Reading Royals, called up as the Phantoms are running out of D-men in a hurry without Amack and Jesper Pettersson. Here's Bardreau on a give by LaMarche. Cole Bardreau will backhand to shovel it into the corner. LaMarche gets all the way up there. Chips it around Martel. Centering. Didn't have enough on that one. Kevin Porter got there too. And now a hopper goes weirdly off of Erickson. And Bardreau in his first game back sent it on to Matt Murray. Couldn't score. Poked out of there. Brian Ross trying to shake and bake his way around Cole Bardreau. Lost possession of the puck. Margol turns it back the other way. Martel dodges a check attempt of Reed McNeil and throws it around the wall. Back in behind the goal, where Tyrell Goulburn, who's been really quiet today, pins Nicholas Anderson against the end boards and carried away by Kevin Porter. 30 seconds of 4-on-4, 2:42 to go in the third period. Stoley hasn't played a lousy game, really, but he certainly hasn't played a great one. And giving up 4 goals on 18 shots certainly doesn't help his stats a whole lot. Now backdoor, there's a nice save for Anthony Stolars. One-timer walking in from the right dot was Oscar Sundqvist, and Stoley makes that save. A couple of them Stoley had no chance on, but of course we've been used to, all too used to some of the efforts he's put forth of late, where he has stopped pretty much everything and anything, including the ones that he had no business stopping. Well, that was not really the case here today. And Stolars, who came in third in the league in goals against average and in save percentage, will not be third in the league in those stats anymore, giving up 4 goals on 19 shots today. With 2.5 to go in the third, still a little bit of 4-on-4. Phantoms trailing here on home ice to the Pens, 4-0. Aaron Palushai speeds up to the red line, guns it in around the wall. Matt Murray unable to stop it, went back there, but then realized he better get back to the crease. He's not stopping that puck. Push back in by Cousins. Both teams got a player back. Straka and Pouliot back out there. 5-on-5. Now will they have a little party again? Straka had a little bump on Sundqvist. Sailed back to the Lehigh Valley, and Robert Higgs scoops it up, tries to turn it back the other way, and he'll just speed right up the middle, carry it in and across the line into the zone. They were hoping to catch the Pens on the change. Stoley was pointing to him to do that. Now Sundqvist grabs a loose puck and pushes it out the center. Samuel Moran had a piece of it. 1:45 to go in the third. Matt Murray is on the verge of his 4th shutout against the Phantoms, his 4th shutout of this season, and his 16th shutout of his career. And his career is only 1.5 seasons young, not even that. 12 shutouts last year, and he's a minute 39 here from his 4th of this season. Phantoms still have a chance to break it up, and Matt Murray actually would have had more shutouts last year. There were a couple that were broken up in the last minute or so, including his AHL record shutout streak of 268 minutes. It would have been 5 shutouts in a row, but Springfield ended it with like a minute left. Here's a shot, Lear off the post again. Are you kidding me? I think Taylor Lear just had the post for the 2nd time in this game. And I think the 5th time for the Phantoms off the iron. Well, that was off the crossbar, the top of the metal. It glanced it up and away. This is a shutout that deserves a big asterisk next to it. The way it is gone. So weird. All right, face-off in the Wilkes-Barre zone with 1:35 left. Penguins win the draw and cleared out the center. Matt Lashoff is there. He'll pump it right back in. Matt Murray behind the goal steers it away from the chasing Joe Raycamp in his 5th game in a Phantom sweater. Now blocked down in the neutral zone by Wilkes-Barre's Connor Sheary around Colin McDonald, and then lifted high in the air all the way down. That's icing on the Penguins. We'll bring it back to the Wilkes-Barre Scranton side as we wind down in this one, and the Phantoms have 74 seconds left just to try to get one of them and try to break up this Matt Murray shutout. I mentioned it earlier. I'm going to comment on it again. Just a few seats down to my left from up here in the radio booth, there is a gentleman wearing a Penguins jersey of the Tim Brent variety. Brent was previously in the Penguins organization with Wilkes-Barre and with Pittsburgh. So just for the occasion, he's wearing his Tim Brent Penguins jersey from a few years ago. Tim Brent left the game at the end of the 2nd period with an upper body injury. Has not returned. It did not look good. Penguins win the draw, and they clear it all the way down. Now Cole Bardreau is back the other way and centering in front of Evan Rankin all the way to the other side. Penguins up with it. Kuhnhackl got a kick on it. Kept in on the line by Robert Haig. I think that should have been offsides, but the linesman lets him play on here. And then Haig lost it. Haig hit a post today, had another dangle move and an open opportunity, and on that one he should have been able to at least hit the post, but he wasn't even close to the cage on the other try. But there was a different one here where he hit the post in the third period. Wilkes-Barre ices the puck all the way down. Play blown down with 37 seconds left now. Kudos to the fans sticking it out in this one. A lot of whistles. Quite a few fans did leave when it was 3-0 and then 4-0. As you can imagine, when it was 4-0, there were quite a few fans picking up their coats and said, well, this one's just not going to be our night, apparently. But there are a lot of fans hanging out to the bitter end of this one. And for the Phantoms, it is unfortunately a little bit on the bitter side. Mark Holt on the left point to Palushai. Cross ice, Moran, and a shot and a stick save, Murray. Chipped it over to the corner. Alt picked it up on the left wall to Palushai. Down low, Cousins. Fighting and battling there with Palush and Straka, and then banged out of there. 15 seconds left. Brian Rust racing with Mark Alt for the puck. Puts on the brakes. Drops for Jean-Sebastian D. Corrales couldn't have the shot. Knuckle. Sharp angle on to Stolars with the glove save. And hanging on now with 8.8 seconds left. We'll do it again tomorrow. This time against the Springfield Falcons. 7:05 game. Teddy Bear Toss is presented by Valley Youth House. Bring those teddy bears, the new or gently used stuffed animals. You get to throw them onto the ice after the Phantoms score their first goal. And if tomorrow's game went the way that this one did, we would have had to choose a different time to throw them because the Phantoms never got a first goal. Face-off win for Wilkes-Barre. A few seconds left. Taps it in behind the goal. And Bardreau throws Simon away from him there. As the horn sounds and LaMarche gets a little bit of a punch in on Dominic Simon. And the officials come in and separate them. LaMarche just got up to Simon, who saw him coming, and said, look, there's 3 seconds left. What, are you really going to do that here? And with that, the Lehigh Valley Phantoms file out of here. For the most part, having played the better game than the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, believe it or not. Final shots on goal were 23-20 in favor of the Phantoms. The Phantoms hit 4 posts, maybe 5 in this game. It's a wacky game sometimes, this sport of hockey. 4 or 5 posts for Lehigh Valley. A few fortunate looks there and saves for Matt Murray. A couple of missed open nets for the Phantoms too, which happens. And Anthony Stolars, seemingly invincible his past several games, was a little more vulnerable tonight, with 4 of them getting past him, a couple of which he had virtually no chance on, a couple maybe he had a bit of a chance on. Final score tonight is Wilkes-Barre Scranton 4, Lehigh Valley Phantoms nothing, and our PNC Bank 3 stars of the game are coming up. For Matt Murray, it's his 4th shutout of the season, with 23 saves and 4 or 5 pipe shots from the goaltender's best friend behind him. His 4th shutout of the year, his 16th of his career. He had a dozen last year, 4 of them this season, and his 4th time shutting out the Lehigh Valley Phantoms as well. 3 shutouts against the Phantoms last season and another blanking here tonight.
The 3rd PNC star for Wilkes-Barre Scranton, number 23, Scott Wilson. The 2nd PNC star for Wilkes-Barre Scranton, number 30, Matt Murray. And the 1st PNC star of tonight's game for Wilkes-Barre Scranton, number 49, Dominic Simone.
Dominic Simone is the number 1 star of the game with a couple goals. Scott Wilson a couple goals. Matt Murray the shutout and 23 saves. And a lot of help from the posts behind him. 4 or 5 post shots. Phantoms can take some consolation out of this. In general, they played well. The power play, though, is struggling big time. I mean, yeah, they're hitting the pipes, but sooner or later, you got to start putting some in. And 0 for 8 tonight, 0 for 13 on the homestand. And without Shane Gostisbehere since his call-up on November 14th, the Phantoms' power play is hovering around 6% now. It doesn't get much worse than that, unfortunately. This power play needs to get it going. And with guys like Cousins and Straka and Colin McDonald and Danik Martel and Aaron Palushai, among others, these are guys that should be able to put the puck in the net, especially when you have an extra man out there. But the Phantoms are in a bit of a funk on the power play of late. So tonight, the first place Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins invade PPL Center, and basically avenge their loss of exactly 1 week ago when the Phantoms pinned the first home loss of the year on Wilkes-Barre Scranton. The Penguins had been 10-0 at home, and then the Phantoms walked in there with a 3-1 win and a well-played game. Here, Wilkes-Barre Scranton is able to grind out a 4-0 win over the Lehigh Valley Phantoms tonight. It sounds like a blowout score, and it really wasn't, and it's incredible to think about, but the Phantoms were the better hockey team for more than half of this game. I mean, not for the whole game, but certainly for more than half. They just were. And if you don't believe me, well, I don't know what I can say, but you'll have to take my word for it. I'm sure there are a number of observers on hand here tonight who would agree with me. I mean, they hit the post over and over, and they were the better team for much of this game. But you know what? Yeah, when they were an inferior team for much of the game, the Penguins still found a way to win, and rather comfortably, as a matter of fact.